Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the Broccoli Fanfics. Back with amazing fanfiction. This is the series of What If Deku Had a Hypnosis Quirk. Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. Izuku is alone. He has no friends, he has no family. The people that used to be look at him in disgust, avoid him, insult him and beat him. They hate him. They've hated him since he was 4. Izuku was confused at first, but of course he figured it out. He was 4 and had to learn that the people around him mistreat him for something he couldn't help. His quirk. At 4 getting his quirk, he thought it was fantastic, he was so excited. He didn't notice disgust, discomfort and hate in the stares of the people around him while he smiled, waving his hands around, expelling excess energy. It didn't take long for people to make him hate his quirk. He named his quirk I Hypnotize. He can take whoever he wants in his line of sight under control, they have to do as he says, and it deactivates when he blinks. They call this a villain's quirk. He never, even at the age of 4, thought villain's quirks existed, because it doesn't make sense to him, but it's hard to ignore when you're called a villain every day, and then it makes you think, is it a villain's quirk? He got blindfolded a lot growing up. At school and wherever he wasn't in his room. So he had practiced getting around, dodging and running away blind. His mom had been nice before his quirk came. They drank hot chocolate on cold days, they drew and colored together, ate their meals together, never a mean word said without apologies following them. After though, there was less talking. When they spoke, it ended in his mom screaming for him to leave her sight. Then it went on to hitting, kicking, pushing and pulling, alongside her screaming. If anyone ever noticed the bruises and cuts, it was never mentioned. Growing up he saw her less and less, and eventually she was barely ever at the apartment. His best friend turned on him too after hearing about his quirk. Kaken, Katsuki Bakugo. He shouted insults and hurt him too. All the other kids joined in, and the teachers looked the other way, or watched in amusement as he was trying his best to get away. As they grew older, stronger, the attacks were more powerful, and eventually he started to scar, because now they use their quirks. He has used his quirk very few times in his life and he still suffers simply for it being a part of him. Izuku doesn't know when talking got hard, but it didn't take long after for him to start learning sign language, and so after he'd learned a decent amount he talked very rarely around people. He sung to himself sometimes, like he always has, but he now has to make sure he's alone, not liking people's attention. His expression used to be more open, happy, carefree. Now he keeps a mask on, blank, neutral, borderline bored maybe. Guarded, keeping himself safe because emotions are dangerous, they know what you like, dislike, they'll have more ways to hurt you. He was 11, maybe, when their attacks got worse because he came out as trans. His mother refused to accept, she was furious, but thankfully Katsuki was accepting of it. He screamed at transphobes for him. That was one thing he never made fun of. It was an awful road, but he did get to the 3rd year of middle school, and now it's almost over. He got suicide baited for the first time, and the same day, he was almost drowned by a villain forcing itself down his throat. All Might saved him, which his 4-year-old self would be beaming about, because a hero came and saved him. That isn't him now though, but he does plan on being a hero. Anyways, that day while All Might was packing the villain away, he wrote a question and handed it to him, curious, but not needing an answer. Can someone be a hero if they have a villainous quirk? The answer was a firm no, and a rant followed that he didn't bother listening to. The man was quirkist, and he left, back to the apartment. He had trained for a couple of years, he knew the UA entrance exam wouldn't be kind to non-physical quirks, so he worked on all the things he thought he should improve, and learnt new things, weapons and how to make makeshift ones. Izuku has made it 10 years, and he dares to hope that next year is at least a little bit better. Izuku is ready to head out. It's entrance day today, and he's really lucky he had been left alone by everyone lately thanks to high school entrance exams all being near. It's the UA's exam. He has applied for general education and heroics. A backup plan is to transfer through the sports festival. He grabs his bag that holds a roll of duct tape, a knife he bought one day when he was 12 because it's pretty and he liked it. It's dark purple with silver specks on it and it's shiny and light, easy to carry, and it came with a sheath, black with purple and silver specks, a notebook, a pen, a bottle of water and a black tracksuit, and rushes out the door in his stitched-up uniform. He's in UA now, walking from the written exam to the practical exam. The written exam wasn't so bad. Izuku enters the hall and finds his seat, sitting down. Unfortunately, he's next to Katsuki, who scoffs and shoves him before he sits, which makes him stumble but not fall. He will take that as a win. He sits and gets out his notebook to write everything down. Soon the hall is full and Present Mike appears on stage. Hello listeners, thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Present Mike. I'm here to explain the practical part of your exam. Can I get a yeah? Silence. Awkward silence. Izuku raises his hands and signs a response. Present Mike notices and seems to brighten up. He supposes that means he has done good. Thank you, listener. This is how the test will go, my listeners. You will be experiencing 10-minute-long mock cityscape maneuvers. Bring along whatever you want. After this presentation, you'll each head to your assigned testing location. That's so kids from the same schools can't work together, Katsuki mutters to himself. Also, why consecutive ID numbers are assigned different locations, Izuku thinks to himself. I'm a crush. Unfortunately, Deku gets to live another day. Katsuki mutters again, glaring from the corner of his eye. Right, that lovely nickname he has given to him, he shall possibly never get rid of. He continues looking forward, watching Present Mike, writing what he says, but still being aware of Bakugo being beside him, just in case he tries something. Now each test site is filled with 3 kinds of faux villains. Points will be awarded for defeating each according to their respective difficulty levels. 1-pointers, 2-pointers and 3-pointers. Use your abilities to disable these faux villains and earn points. That is your goal, listeners. Of course, playing the anti-hero and attacking fellow examinees is against the rules, so don't do that. Present Mike is about to continue but is interrupted. May I ask a question, sir? They don't wait for a response. There appears to be 4 varieties of faux villains on the handout provided. Such a blatant error, if it is one, is highly unbecoming of a school such as UA, Japan's top hero school. Everyone here is here in the hopes of being molded into model heroes. And you with the tired eyes and curly black hair. You've been writing this whole time, are you even paying attention? And the sound is distracting. If this is just some sort of game to you, then please leave immediately. They shout at Izuku as if they have the right to tell him what to do. He stares at them, not responding, not showing his confusion and annoyance at the attention on him. The no response seems to annoy them. Hey, alright, examinee number 7111, nice catch. Thanks. But the 4th faux villain variety gets you 0 points. They're more of an obstacle. Ever played Super Mario Bros.? Great retro game. The 0-pointer is kind of like a thwomp. Only one at each testing site. A gimmick that'll rampage around in close quarters. The voice hero explains. Right, so this one you should avoid. Truly like a video game. Robots, not good for mental and weak quirks. Thank you, sir. My apologies for the interruption. The person from before calls out. Alright, that is all from me, your DJ host. I'll you all with our school motto. The great hero Napoleon Bonaparte once said, "True heroism consists in being superior to the ills of life. Plus ultra. Break a leg, everybody." And with that the man leaves, and the hall collectively starts to rush out. Izuku waits for the rush to calm down, because he hates crowds. Izuku stands by the gate, ready for it to open, just outside the crowd of people. He's wearing his black tracksuit now. He has a knife on his belt and his tape in his pocket. He has tightened the laces on his second-hand boots and made sure they won't come undone. He's ready for the gate to open. He stares at where the gate will open, and finally after minutes of waiting the gate moves, so he rushes for that gap, and as soon as it's wide enough he rushes through. He has already found his first robot when he hears a shout of, "Go!" and some other stuff he doesn't bother paying attention to. He has to focus, because this exam is biased against mental and weak quirks. He runs at his first target, a 3-pointer, and climbs up its back carefully, and so far somehow he makes it up undetected. He pulls out his knife and cuts into its joints as quickly as possible, and then notices an off button. This exam just got a whole lot easier. He slams his hand on the button and it stops. He feels a rush of excitement and he's sure his eyes express his delight, while he runs off to the nearest faux villain. After taking down a few villains, Izuku's running to find his next one, but before he finds one he notices someone has used their quirk, but they must have missed because now it's coming towards a kid with a tail. The kid doesn't notice and so Izuku rushes over and tackles them to the ground. Seconds later the quirk, which seems to be fire, shoots over them, hitting a building and setting it on fire. Izuku looks down at Tail Kid, flops off them, looks over them, making sure they have no serious injuries, seeing they have none, stands up and offers them a hand. They look confused but after a moment take it. As soon as they're standing Izuku nods to them and runs off to collect more points. Shota is sitting, surrounded by the rest of UA's staff, watching on the screen as chaos happens. He finds his attention drawn to one examinee. A short, pale, curly black-haired, green-eyed with white pupils child, with an apathetic face, not unlike his own. The child was the first to get through the gates, before Geo had been yelled out. They had quickly found the off button to the robots that very few others had found. There was a light in those dull green eyes that lit up when they saw it. They collected quite a few villain points and then while they were running down one road they had seen someone in danger and acted, earning rescue points. Shota found it quite funny when they flopped off the person they tackled. He was delighted when the child checked the other for injuries and helped them up, then ran off, continuing his quest to collect points. He wanted this kid in his class. He leaned in his seat towards Nizu in the seat beside him. Nizupa? Who's the child with the curly black hair, pale skin, green eyes, apathetic look on their face? He whispered. Nizu adopted him in his first year of high school. Nizu pulled out a tablet, typed something in, and handed it to him. Here you go, he says, patting his arm before focusing back on the screens. Their application sent from their school. Legal name, Izumi Midoriya. Birthday, July 15th 2 ####. Age, Issy, female. Quirk, I hypnotize. More information. Address, ############################################################################################################################################################################################################################################################################################################################################################################################### ########################################################################################################################################################################################################################################################################################################################################################################################## probably has been discriminated against quite a bit considering their quirk. Nizuba, I want them in my class please. Shota says, handing the tablet back. Nizu smiles at him. Of course, Shota, they're doing really well. They even got 10 points from Hisashi for being the only one to respond to him when he asked if he could get a yeah. They signed a response, and that got 10 extra points. They so far have 36 villain points and 40 rescue points, altogether so far 86 points. Nizu tells him, this brings a small smile to Shota's face. So they have enough to pass, he thinks to himself. Looks like it's time for the 0-pointer. Nizu cheers, slamming a paw on a bright red button. Izuku doesn't know how many points he has, he lost count. He doesn't know how many points he needs either, he just has to hope it's enough. He's pushed other people out of the way of robot attacks, flying rubble and stray quirks while collecting points. Some of them got mad and tried to yell at him, but after he has looked them over he runs off, not giving them the chance. The exam must be ending soon, because the ground starts to shake and people start to scream and shout, to run away. So like the weirdo he is, he stops in place, just standing as people rush by. Izuku can now see what they're running from, and he's wondering how far up the off button is. Then he hears something. Help. Please. I'm stuck. Please help. Someone, he hears, and he's now running towards them. He gets there and they have debris pinning their leg down. He tries to get it off but it's too heavy for him to lift, so he looks around for something to use. He sees a pole, it snapped, so he grabs it, rushing back, pulling out his tape still in his pocket. Instead of taping them together to make it a longer pole again, he tapes them so that it's thicker. He shoves the end of it under the rubble ready to use the pole to shove it up and off, long enough for them to get out. The robot is coming closer, but it's still a bit away. He's ready, he nudges the trapped person getting their attention, he points at himself then the rubble, then points at them and then making a motion to that he hopes they see as get out. because instead of signing he's playing charades because he doesn't know if they know sign and they don't have time. They seem to understand, and so he puts as much strength as he can into getting this thing off them, and it works. They crawl out as soon as they can, and Izuku drops the pole, backing up, rushing over to them, pulling them up by the arm, putting one arm around their waist, and yanking their arm around his shoulders, and they move as fast as they can away, until time is called. After time is called, he sets them down against a building, knowing they're hurt, and he leans against it catching his breath. Others are making their way out. Some are staying to get checked by a professional. Thank you for saving me. That was scary. I'm Ochako Uraraka. What's your name? The person he saved, Uraraka, he supposes, asks him. Eyes closed, he nods and signs his name. Oh, I don't know sign language, sorry. They apologize. He shrugs, still calming his breathing. Hello, dearies, any injuries? He opens his eyes to see recovery girl there, so he signs, hoping she knows sign. They were trapped under some rubble, possibly bruised, sprained, fractured or broken. I'm fine. Thank you, Sonny, but you do know you have some cuts on your hands that are bleeding and look quite deep, right? Mississippi recovery girl asks. Izuku looked at his hands and was surprised, because yes, there were deep cuts on his hands. He tilted his head trying to figure out when they got there. I didn't know, high pain tolerance I suppose? He shrugs, still confused. Let me see, dear. I do as she says, sitting and holding my hands out. Thank you, I'll clean the wound and heal it, okay? He nods and she gets to work, Uraraka sitting next to him, watching as she cleans the wounds. Okay, there you go, dear, now, you'll get tired after this, so make sure to rest later, young one. He nods his agreement, although he's not sure he will try. She kisses the back of his hand and he feels the effects almost instantly as he watches the wounds close. Fascinating, he thinks. She hands him some gummies and tells him to head home. Huh, home. Dunno where that is, I'll just go to the apartment. After collecting his things he heads off, ready to crash. A week full of nerves, a couple beatings and not much food later, finally the letter arrives. The apartment is empty when it comes, he grabs it and rushes to his room. Closing the door, he sits at his desk quietly. After a couple minutes of sitting silently in the mostly empty room, he decides to open it. There is a black disc inside, along with some papers. He examines the disc for a moment and finds a button. After thinking, he presses it, because it's unlikely that UA sent him a bomb or something. He thinks he would have preferred a bomb, because now he's covering his ears at the surprise rise in noise. He's also freaking out a bit because All Might is hovering over the disc. He doesn't like him, All Might is quirkist, and he wants nothing to do with him, but then he starts talking and he has to listen because it is most likely important. This is a projection. There is only one reason I am in town. I have come to teach at you. The man declares. They're letting him near kids? This quirkist person? Does he even have a license to teach? Actually, this is probably the Hero Commission's doing, he speculated. On the written exam you got 97%, the highest anyone has gotten without an intelligence quirk. Congratulations. Now on to the practical. Before the exam started you received 10 extra points from Present Mike, for being the only one to respond when he called out. During the exam, you were the first one to get through the gates. You collected villain points all over the test site. You have 43 villain points, which is enough for you to be in the hero course. But what kind of school would UA be if we didn't reward heroic behavior? All Might shouts. He doesn't seem to remember him, which is good. The device shows recordings of him tackling, pushing, pulling, helping other people throughout the exam. You saved people all while collecting points. A hero course that rejects someone who does the right thing is no hero course at all. You have extra points, villain points, and rescue points. You have 130 rescue points. Altogether you have 183 points, putting you in first place, and setting a new record. You young Midoriya have made it. This is your hero academia. The device turns off. He did it. He's going to be a hero. Izuku pulls out the papers and reads them. Some say what was said in the recording, others have more information. Class 1A. Hopefully school is better this time. He won't dare hope too much. He will be a hero. It's the first day of school today. Inko, mom, wasn't happy last night and took her anger out on him. So not only is he tired and extremely nervous, thank you, insomnia, love you too. He is aching and stinging in some places, from bruises and cuts. They don't necessarily hurt, they're just irritating. His binder isn't really helping, but for the sake of looking flat he'll put up with it. Izuku put pins, buttons and badges all over the collar of his blazer, and a couple on his tie. He has black eyeshadow under his eyes and eyeliner on his eyelids. At the corners it makes his eyes look sharp. He likes his makeup today. He put in his earrings, having gotten them pierced at birth, thankfully not having to save up for them. He needs to save the money he gets, for when he needs it, he does small jobs around the city, walking dogs, washing cars, and sometimes a cafe down the road lets him help out when they're understaffed. They don't want to hire him part-time, thinking that since he's so young he should be having fun, not realizing he needs the money. He collects most of the cash and puts it together. He keeps that for when he needs necessities. The rest of it he collects to be able to buy himself things that he likes, like new earrings, pins, buttons, badges, patches, makeup, sketchbooks, notebooks, pens and pencils. Those kinds of things. Of course his purple knife too. Anyways, today he put in black crosses. He thinks he would like more piercings one day. He picks up his patch and pin-covered black and purple backpack to make sure he has everything: notebooks, pencils, pens, water bottle, box full of band-aids and disinfectant, and a sketchbook. He won't need most of this because the first day doesn't have usual classes, but he'll bring it all anyways. He throws on his bag and picks up his phone he got for $30 to $40 when he was 11. It's not great, but it's better than nothing. It doesn't have much storage, but he mainly uses it for music anyways. He plugs his headphones in, puts them on and listens to his playlist of music he enjoys. He puts his phone in his pocket and leaves his room quietly, unsure if Inko is home. He puts on his boots, tying them tight, and leaves, locking the door behind him. First day, he can do this. Walking through the halls of UA is nicer than through his old school's halls. Not even because he isn't being shoved around, but because it's cleaner. No, he expects to be shoved around at some point. He isn't now because nobody knows him and what he can do. He finally finds the door and debates whether or not he wants to go in yet. There is still some time before the bell. He ultimately decides it opens the door and walks in. Most of the class is there already and two people are already arguing and he can hear it over his music. Of course it's Katsuki and the person that got mad at him during present mix presentation. On the board he finds his last name next to the number 21, and he feels a little bit like he has been blessed. Corner seat in the back is the best seat he has ever gotten. He goes the long way around, to avoid drawing Katsuki and the blue-haired person's attention, and takes his seat behind a person with purple hair that has their head down and headphones on. Mood. The person in front of the absolute mood of a person has long black hair tied up high, and is trying to get them to stop arguing but isn't at all successful. After a while the whole class is in the room. He's ignoring them all but watching the door. He sees it open but no one else does, and he watches as a yellow sleeping bag makes its way across the floor into the room. He can't hear much over the music, but the class is loud, so no one has noticed the person on the ground. It takes a couple minutes more, but finally someone screams. That's when he takes his headphones off. If you're here to socialize, get out. This is the hero course, the person in the sleeping bag says, then obnoxiously slurps their jelly pack. There's such a mood too. It took far too long for you to quiet down. Only one of you noticed me. Time is precious, you lot aren't very logical. They say, getting out of their sleeping bag. Oh, this is Eraserhead. That is awesome. They probably won't discriminate against me. Fingers crossed. I'm your homeroom teacher, Shota Aizawa. He him pronouns. A pleasure to meet you. Mr. Aizawa introduces himself. Now hurry, change into your gym uniforms and head to the grounds. Then the man is leaving. As soon as he starts to leave, Izuku grabs his stuff, puts his headphones back on and rushes to the front, collects his gym clothes and is out the door right after Aizawa, before anyone really processes they are supposed to leave. In the changing room he gets into a stall and locks it behind him. He quickly changes, not daring to take off his binder, even though he should if they are doing exercise. He takes his headphones off and puts his phone in his bag. He misses the music. He's busy shoving his stuff in a locker and putting a lock on it when others get into the changing rooms. They stare at him, he avoids their eyes, he finally gets the lock on and is out the door. He hates being the center of attention. Izuku gets to the field where Aizawa is and after a moment of standing, unsure of where to look or what to do with his hands, he sits on the ground playing with the grass. It's a short while until anyone comes out. Only 2 other people. One of which is the person that yelled at him during Present Mike's presentation. When the yell guy sees him, he runs to him chopping his hands up and down while shouting at him. You again. Stand up, there's no reason for you to be sitting. You don't take anything seriously, do you? First the exam, now being lazy. Oh, don't think I didn't see the state of your uniform. Covered in pins. Or the earrings and makeup. It's against school rules, and is incredibly unhero-like. You're wasting everyone's time if all you're here to do is look like a fool, and to ruin this prestigious school's image. During the rant, more of the class had arrived and were watching quietly. Izuku turns to him and tilts his head, face empty of emotion as always. I haven't broken any rules. You don't know me, leave me alone. I never asked anyone to waste time on me, he signs. I don't know what that means, use your voice, the blue-haired guy shouts at him. He pulls the middle finger and turns around, ignoring him and the rest of the class. Then he feels like melting into the grass as Aizawa announces what they're doing. Quirk assessment test. He hasn't used his quirk since he was 7 and it was an accident. In his whole life he hasn't used his quirk more than 10 times willingly. He accidentally activated his quirk more than 10 times but still not very many times. Last place in this test gets expelled. Let's see how this goes. He finished most of the tests, most of his scores were pretty good, his training and escaping people helped. He did all the tests quirkless. Midoriya? A voice calls. Izuku looks up to the sound from where he's seated on the ground, ignoring the world. It's Mr. Aizawa. Hello. He signs. It's your turn for the ball throw. The man replies. Okay, he says, and he gets up and walks over to Mr. Aizawa where he has the ball. When he reaches for the ball in the man's hand, Mr. Aizawa speaks. Kid, can you use your quirk this time please? This makes him freeze momentarily. He stares at the man's forehead, not making eye contact, then looks over to where the class is, jumping a small amount when he sees all eyes are on him, then looks back. He sighs but nods, grabbing the ball. Thank you. Izuku looks over the class again, not entering the circle yet, his eyes stop on Uraraka. The class got extra loud when she did her test, so he couldn't ignore it. She scored infinity. Izuku wanders over to her, poking her cheek awkwardly, unsure how to do this not awkwardly. Because he's going to hide the activation of his quirk. While he pokes her cheek, he activates his quirk, bringing a faint glow to his eyes and making her eyes go white, all color hidden. He feels satisfaction and disgust run through him. He makes his way back to the circle. He stands eyes on the ground focusing on not blinking. Izuku whispers, knowing that he'd be heard no matter how loud he was through the connection, slightly surprised by his voice coming out at all. Please come stand in the circle with me. She does. Satisfaction and disgust. Please use your quirk on the ball in my hand. Then the ball is floating up, and away. Izuku pokes her cheek awkwardly again while blinking. Quirk euphoria is bursting in him. Well, what? The girl says, after a moment, where Izuku has backed up a few steps already with quirk euphoria he hasn't experienced since he first got his quirk, she spins glaring at him. What the F dash? You freak. How dare you? You took control of me, you dumb, villain kid. I should have known you were no good. The euphoria is dying. What have I told you about using your quirk? Katsuki shouts, stomping in his direction. I was told to, he signs, frustrated, but his face continues to stay blank. I don't care. If you were told to, I told you not to. You, Kiemen nerd, Katsuki yells and charges at him with explosions increasing his speed, so he runs until he's somewhere behind Aizawa, who has activated his quirk and is sending his capture weapon out. Bakugo, you will not attack your classmate. I have expelled people for less, got it? Mr. Aizawa asks as he reels Katsuki in until they're nose to nose. Katsuki nods and is released. Mr. Aizawa then turns to him. Don't listen to them, you did as asked, and you did it well. Report any quirk discrimination to me or another teacher. He shrugs and goes back to sitting on the grass a little away from the class. Holy shit! This person has the same quirk as me with different activations. I used my quirk during the other tests, but he didn't seem to use theirs, but I didn't use my quirk for the ball throw, but they did. We found 2 quirks so far, how many more will there be? Hitoshi thought, excited about having someone who gets what it's like for him. They're also really pretty. He wonders if they will be his friend. Alright, here are your scores. Mr. Aizawa says. Momo Yaoyorozu. Shoto Todoroki. Katsuki Bakugo. Tenya Ida. Fumikage Tokoyami. Mizo Shoji. Mishiro Ojiro. Ajiro Kirishima. Mina Ishido. Izumi Midoriya. Hitoshi Shinso. Uchako Uraraka. Koji Koda. Rikido Sato. Tsuyu Azui. Yuga Oyama. Antasiro. Denki Kaminari. Kyokujiro. Toru Hagakure. Minoru Mineta. 11th. That's better than I thought I'd get, Hitoshi thinks, proud of himself. The cute apathetic kid is staring at the board, unmoved. Until he turns and leaves. Hey! Teach, the nerd's name's Izuku. The explosive one shouts, when the teacher goes to call out to the kid walking away. Oh, I'll bring that up with them later. He hears his teacher murmur to himself. Anyways, no one's expelled. It was a logical ruse to make sure you all did your best. Mr. Aizawa says with a wide grin. After a couple minutes, they're all free to go. When they get to the changing rooms, the apathetic kid is already gone. It's the second day today. He walks into class with a blue band-aid on his cheek. His mother had thrown a knife at him. He dodged but was still cut. He spent the night awake staring at the ceiling blankly, falling asleep for about 2 hours. Insomnia. A guy's best friend. He wanders in the class and who he thinks is called Ida dashes up to him. He's wearing headphones, but this guy is so loud that he can hear him clearly over the music. Take all that stuff off. You're ruining this school's image. You dash, Ida continues to yell as he walks past, ignoring the glares and the comments he's sure they're making. Time to get through the day. It's lunch that he finds himself unscrewing the vent cover, while crouched on top of the cupboard, after everyone's left. A moment later he's in the vents and they're big enough to walk in, which is awesome. He finds a room after a bit of walking. Izuku waves at the camera, and wanders over to the beanbags in the corner, flopping down onto one. There are vending machines, a couch, a bin, a table, another table with stools and a chessboard and of course beanbags. Izuku lets himself just relax. The bell to begin class is ringing. So Izuku grabs his stuff and runs on light feet through the vents back to class. After waving bye to the camera again, he jumps out of the vent, landing in a crouch as he goes to grab the vent cover to screw it back on with his little screwdriver he keeps as a keychain. He makes eye contact with someone, which makes him freeze. Eye contact is not something he understands how to handle properly. He brings his hands to his chest and signs. Hello. The purple-haired person does the same, then they continue to stare at each other awkwardly. They're the only one who has noticed him, everyone else still chatting and in their own worlds. Izuku slowly starts to screw the cover back on, looking from the vent cover to the person still staring at him. Oh my god, how am I supposed to handle this? Soon all my attention is on the person watching him. Izuku tilts his head, unsure of what to do. Vent adventures? The purple-haired person asked and he blinked at that. What? What? He asks. They shrug. Okay, they don't seem to know what to do either. He climbs down from the cupboard, dragging his bag down with him, and jumps, landing lightly, off the cubbies. He goes and sits at his desk, the other person does the same. They wait for class to start. It starts with a bang. To which Izuku responds with a hiss that goes ignored. I am coming through the door like a normal person. A familiar booming voice claims. The class erupts in cheers. Izuku almost allows himself to growl with a glare, but he stays silent. He ignores the man, but he pays attention to the cases coming out of the wall. The class is an uneven number, so he finds it a bit funny when his case is on its own on the top shelf. What he doesn't find funny is he can't reach it, so he'll have to climb to get it. So while All Might is talking and the class is cheering, he gets up with his bag and walks to the front. Young Midoriya, what are you doing? The man asks, his smile twitching. Izuku only glances his way and continues walking. He stands in front of the cases, leans on one leg, with his hand on his hip. He looks up at his case and sighs. He knows everyone's watching but F them. He climbs up the shelves and when he's high enough he grabs the case and jumps down. He straightens his blazer and glances at the class. There are many different looks but he doesn't understand them. He looks to All Might who is still staring at him and places the case on the ground to free his hands. Where are we going? Izuku signs, tilting his head. It takes the man a moment to figure out what he said, which is irritating. We are going to ground beta. I wasn't done here though, All Might replied. Izuku was confused. They should be doing costume critiques and testing how well they could move in them rather than battles in a city setting. Superpowered kids should be trained to use their quirks safely in a fight before being sent off to battle. He doesn't say this though. Instead glances to the silent class, back to All Might, and walks out the door. When the door is closed he can hear the class become loud. He breathes a little better with the lack of eyes on him, and heads to the teacher's lounge. Shota was taking a break from paperwork, drinking his coffee, which Hisashi says is too sweet, in his office. Then there is a knock on the door. Shota puts his coffee down to answer the door. He didn't quite expect to see Midoriya there, holding their costume case, face as blank as usual but eyes holding confusion and irritation. He doesn't mind though. So far they are his most tolerable students. He thinks this kid could go far. Midoriya, a pleasant surprise. To what do I owe the pleasure? Also, what are your pronouns and is Izuku your name? If so, we can get that fixed so it says that instead. Shota asks as he ushers them in. They take seats on the couch in his office. They look all around the room, taking in all escape routes. That's concerning. That is my name, he/him pronouns, thank you. He signs looking at the wall away from him. Shota noticed that he doesn't do eye contact. There could be a few reasons. Okay, thank you for telling me. Now, what's up, kid? He asks, picking up his coffee. Okay, so I met All Might last year, found out he is a quirkist, so I'm not completely sure he should be alone with a class of children. I feel like he will teach his quirkist ways to kids, and encourage them to be quirkist. Some of them already are, they don't need encouragement. I don't know what he was saying. I stopped paying attention when he walked through the door, but after I grabbed my case, I asked where we were going. He said ground beta. I thought that was weird, because this class of 21 superpowered children, most of which haven't had any training to use their quirks safely in battle, should be doing costume critiques, not fighting. Like I know Bomb has most likely gotten a support item that stores his sweat for a bigger blast. There are problems with that, one being he's already losing his hearing, and if he didn't make anything to support his ears then. It just doesn't make sense. Does it make sense to you? Is that what we are supposed to be doing? Midoriya signs to him. Shota thinks about what information he has been given, and he doesn't like it. Okay, so All Might is quirkist and probably shouldn't be left with children. All Might is taking your class to ground beta, where they will most likely fight. All Might is an idiot, another reason he shouldn't be left with children. Okay, thank you. I'm going to go tell him off. You go get changed and head to Gym Gamma. We will do costume critique and then run an obstacle course, quirkless, test support equipment specifically for quirks while others do the obstacle course. That was the plan. Shota instructed. By now they're probably all still in the changing rooms. So they'd probably be getting out while you're telling All Might off. Midoriya signs, standing with a sigh. Bye, Eraserhead. He tiredly signs and walk out with their case in hand, not waiting for a farewell. Huh, yeah, that kid's getting somewhere. He mumbles to himself, before chugging the last of his coffee and taking off down the hall to yell at an idiot. Shota kicks the door to the viewing room open. To see All Might, he traps the guy in his capture weapon glaring at the large idiot, who starts to sweat, stammering. You idiot! These are children, they need to learn to fight before they fight. What were you thinking? That they could learn in battle? The man laughs nervously. Good, he's getting scared. That's how someone could get killed, you dumbass. He hisses, seething. The class walks in and he looks at them. You lot head to Gym Gamma. You are not to fight against each other yet. He commands. They nod a bit fearful. Some seem upset at the change of plans, others relieved. They leave and Shota turns back to All Might. Nizu will be hearing of this if he doesn't already know. With that, Shota settles his capture weapon back around his neck and walks out. Izuku, believe it or not, was really proud of his costume design. He loves creative outfits, and with the opportunity he would dress more like himself. For now though, he wears what he has, most of which he got from second-hand stores. He's only bought basic things like shirts, pants and hoodies, no clothing that excites him though. Maybe one day. The fact he got to design an outfit for himself got him so excited. So he hopes it worked out. After changing, he looked at himself in the mirror on the door of the stall. Black boots with steel toes, they're light, so they don't make a load of sound, and they have some shock absorption. Baggy black pants, with built-in armor, green thread used for the seams, with thicker green crosses over the seams. Utility belt, filled with things he may need. As well as cute stickers and band-aids for kids, or just whoever he rescues when he gets the chance to rescue. His shirt has built-in armor, it's baggy, and like the pants they have green thread used and green crosses over top of the seams. It has a built-in binder that can be used while exercising. There's an embroidered little ghost on both sleeves. The sleeves disappear into his gloves that are green with black patterns, shock-absorbing. There are braces on his elbows and knees, green with black patterns. He has headphones over his ears that help silence, muffle and detect sounds. He has light-up green crosses on them too, if he flicks a switch. He has a collapsible staff and a knife, both purple like his knife at home. His favorite part of the whole thing are probably his goggles. They'll block the view of his eyes, so all others can see is green. They can keep his eyes from drying with a mist spray of eye drops, if he fills the little tank. They have a built-in camera with audio, and there's a button he can press to send his location to the school like an emergency signal. He also has one of those on his belt. He also got a camera and emergency button that is disguised as a badge for his uniform and regular clothing just in case. He plans on keeping the camera rolling always at school and possibly outside of school sometimes. He allowed himself a small smile while looking the outfit over, happy stimmying with his hands. He likes his costume and hopes it looks all right and works well. Hitoshi was standing with the rest of their class, waiting for their teacher when the door opened. The class went silent and looked over to the door. When he looked over, he felt his face go red. Midoriya, the vent adventurer, the cute apathetic boy who he wants to know, has designed a really cute costume that suits them very well. Oh, you're Midoriya, right? You look so handsome. Did you design this? A pink girl asks. He thinks her name is Ashido, rushing up to them. For the first time so far he sees them express something on their face. Their eyes widen, thankfully not hidden by the goggles around their neck, and their mouth drops open a little, cheeks turning pink. It is an adorable expression and he feels his face burn. He is so glad he has a camera built into his voice modulator that was recording that moment. Ashido is standing in front of them smiling. They aren't too far away, but Hitoshi had to strain to hear the whisper. I'm Izuku Midoriya, yes. He him. Thank you, and yes. He breathes, fidgeting with his hands, not making eye contact. He probably isn't used to people interacting with him, which he gets. It's so new, he's been claimed by an extrovert blonde gender-fluid kid that goes by any pronouns and any terms most of the time, who he believes was a golden retriever in their past life. He can't say he definitely hates it though. That is so cool. Ashido cheers. Okay, give me your hand. He hesitantly raises his hand, tilting his head, face having retreated back to its blank state, pink still there. Ashido holds his hand in hers, and they start walking, swinging their joined hands between them. Okay, I'm Mina Ashido. You can call me Mina, she, her, they, them pronouns, she tells the boy. You can call me Izuku then. He mumbles back. They're about the same height. Hitoshi notices he's pretty short. Well, considering he had to climb the shelves to get his case, that was probably obvious. Awesome. Also, I know sign language. My brother's deaf. I noticed you seem to prefer it, so feel free to use it. She cheers again. He nods. An arm slings over his shoulder, and he looks over to the owner of it. Kaminari. Golden retriever turned human. Oh, Shinso, do you have a crush? Is that what's going on here? He asks with mischief in his eyes, and Hitoshi feels his face warm. No, he says. Yes, he thinks. Ah, you so do, huh? So what about him has got you blushing like that? Kaminari asks, teasing. Shiro and Kirishima snicker. Fine. So yesterday I thought he was a little odd and very pretty. Today, he walked in and I saw his pin-covered uniform and the eyeliner. I thought he was even prettier. I walked into the classroom after lunch like the rest of the class, and made awkward eye contact as they jumped out of the vent. They didn't seem to know what to do, I didn't either. So we just awkwardly stared at each other right in the eyes for a bit. Then he decided to be a bit of a badass, give no FS sorta person, when he walked up to the front of the room and climbed the shelves and left, not caring at all. Now he walks in looking absolutely stunning. How could I not crush on this person I hardly know? Also, we have almost the same quirk, which means he has most likely been through at least some of the shit I went through. Hitoshi spills in a whisper. His face is never going back to normal, he thinks. Ah, that is so cute, look at the grumpy cat with a crush. Shiro teases, Hitoshi whines, hiding his face in his hands as they laugh. He's known these people for a day and he's already spilling about his crush that he's also had for a day. Before he can whine telling them to stop making fun of him, Ashido is approaching their little group. Hands still held by Midoriya. Okay then. So Izuku really wasn't expecting one of his classmates to bound up to him at all. He wasn't expecting the burst of gender euphoria which he accidentally let be seen on his face. Not that they knew it was gender euphoria. Wasn't expecting his classmate to hold his hand and lead him over from the door to the class. Mina is very nice so far, he hopes she stays nice. She takes him to a group, they seem to be teasing a very red-faced purple-haired person. Hey guys, this is my new bestie Izuku Midoriya, he/him. Mina calls. Izuku tilts his head. Does this mean we are friends? Does she know what my quirk is? He wonders. Hey man, I'm Ijiro Kirishima, he/him, nice to meet ya. Kirishima greets with a wide smile full of sharp teeth. He nods to him in greeting. His costume horrified him a bit, there was no protection at all. Hi, I'm Hanta Shiro, they say with a smile and wave. Denki Kaminari. Any pronouns, any terms unless said otherwise. I think we are going to be great friends. The blonde cheers with a smiling, arms still around another person's shoulders. He liked their jacket, he kind of wants one. Hitoshi Shinso, he/him. The guy that saw you jump out of the vents. Shinso says, smirking a bit. Izubabe. What? Why were you in the vents? Mina asks. Izuku tilts his head again. He then pulls out his little screwdriver fiddling with it. The vents are comfy. He mumbles. Mina laughs. You're so cute, Izubabe, she tells him, swinging their hands between them a bit. Mr. Aizawa wanders in at that point and starts instructing everyone on what to do. The class ended and he left to get changed, everyone else listening to what the teacher was saying. He was a bit proud that Mr. Aizawa had no problems with his costume. That there was no reason to change it. When he left the stall in a gray hoodie with a cat on it and black shorts and his usual old boots, he was greeted with the 4 people from before standing by the door to the exit. Tightening his hold on the bag straps, he slowly makes his way over to the door. Hey Mito. Mina told us to get your number, she didn't get the chance, and we want your number too, that way we can be friends and text. Shiro says. Huh. He feels confused. He pulls his phone out and stares at it, not even sure if he can text on it. He checks and he just never has. Then he clicks to a word that was said. Izuku's nose twitches, he tilts his head. Friends? He whispers, wonder and hope dancing in his voice. They all nod. Shiro speaks. Yeah dude, me, Kirishima, Kaminari, Shinso, and of course Mina, are your friends if you want us to be. You don't care about my quirk? He asks, confused. Shinso sighs and looks at him. They don't. It's a part of you. I have a similar quirk to yours, it's called brainwashing. I personally think that it's hypnosis though. They claimed me, now they're claiming you. I am too. Izuku nods in understanding. Huh, that's new, he states quietly and bluntly. The others snort in amusement. having a similar quirk to someone else? Shinso asks. He nods. It is. They leave the changing rooms then, not noticing glares and stares from the remaining people in the room. At the apartment on his own after eating dinner, he's drawing at his desk, music playing from his phone. Most of the music he listens to is pre-Quirk era. He turns his music off when he hears his mother stumble through the door. This is the most she has been in the apartment at all. It freaks him out a bit. She's not alone, which is new. He hears them stumble to her room and close the door. He puts his headphones on and continues as he was, not wanting to know whatever the FS going on in there. One thing Izuku hates is crowds. Izuku loves and hates many things just as anyone else. He has never been afraid to say he hates crowds. He balances on fences just to avoid crowds. Sometimes, unfortunately, he cannot escape the crowds. So when he gets to school and sees a huge crowd of reporters surrounding the school, he seriously considers ditching today. The media. He decides to get it over with, turning his disguised camera on. It records video and audio, it has a tracker, and an emergency button that sends a signal to the UA staff, and starts walking through the crowd, trying to remain unnoticed. His headphones that were blocking most of the noise out were knocked to around his neck. He was being grabbed and screamed at. He didn't like this. He continues to walk, the people grabbing him trying to yank him back. One of them waved a microphone in his face, so he bit it, yanking it out of their hands and dropped it. There were screams around him as people backed off, staring in possible fear as he put his headphones on, dusted and straightened his clothes and walked the rest of the way in. The people murmuring to each other part for him, like he's scissors gliding through paper. Other students use the opportunity to get into school too. He's so done with the day already. After a trip to the bathroom where he washed his hands and face, still grossed out by the grabbing and yanking, he heads to his class, pulling out a piece of the badge-like camera out and plugging it into his phone. He pushes the door open as he presses play and watches what's been recorded so far. He had to bite a foam microphone to get people to stop touching him, so after saving that clip, he unplugs the piece from his phone, plugging it back into the badge and looks up. Class must have started cause he's standing at the front of the room and everyone is staring at him. Mr. Aizawa included. Some people seem to be trying not to laugh. He takes his headphones off, unsure of whether to go sit, walk out again, or to give an explanation. Midoriya, why are you late to class? Aizawa asks. He makes an noise and walks over to him, unplugging his headphones and pressing play on the clip he saved and handing him the phone. The man watches it and when it's done he gives the phone back, which he puts in his pocket to have his hands free to sign. I had to bite a foam microphone to get reporters to stop grabbing me and yanking me. Went to the bathroom to wash my hands because crowds are gross and the media. I think I scared them and I am not sorry. He signs as the people who understand what he said cackled. Mr. Aizawa even snorted. Everyone else looked at them in confusion and frustration. Okay, kid, go sit. He does, so ready to not be the center of attention. Okay class, today you have an important task. The man says with a completely bored and serious expression. It seems to put the class on edge for some reason. You have to pick a class president and vice president. You do that, I'm going to sleep, he says as he climbs in his sleeping bag and flops on the floor. An absolute mood of a man. Maybe I should carry around a sleeping bag. Izuku thinks. The class erupted into shouts of, pick me, and, no me. Izuku eventually decided to climb back on top of the cupboard. So he did, leaning against his bag he watched the chaos down below. Stop, the class quietens. We should do a vote. That way it's fair. Ida shouts, hand raising the highest. They debate about it before deciding to do it. Ida hands out pieces of paper and the minute he sees Izuku he's yelling at him. Midoriya, get down here, right now, you were already late and now this. You are dash, he continues to shout waving his hands. While he's doing that he's watching the hand, then he swipes the paper ignoring the sheet out of him. Izuku writes Mina. The vote doesn't matter to him, but being voted for would probably make Mina happy. He folds the paper and hands it back to Ida, putting his headphones on, plugging them in, pressing play on a playlist, closing his eyes to show he's not listening. He heard when he walked away, because the shouting stopped and opened his eyes again. The votes were in. Momo Yairo's Mina Ishido, so that's dealt with. It's lunch and Denki stays at his desk as the class leaves. Mina, Shiro, Kirishima, and Shinso stay too. When the class is gone, they turn to each other. They pull chairs to sit around Shinso's desk and eat their lunches. Denki looks up to where Midoriya was, only to see him unscrewing the vent cover. He elbows Mina next to him, and after a moment they're all watching as he unscrews the cover, oblivious to their stares. He shoves his bag into the opening and glances around the class, freezing when he sees 5 people staring at him. Denki almost laughs because he glances between them and the opening several times, before climbing in. A moment later they poke their head out staring at them before disappearing again. After a moment of staring at the opening in the ceiling they burst out laughing. Denki even sees Shinso covering his mouth, shoulders shaking, quietly laughing. "Oh my god, I love him. He's precious." Shiro laughs, hand over their heart. Everyone nods. "Do you think he'll come back?" Kirishima asks with a smile. "Who knows?" Denki says. They go back to eating, talking and laughing. Denki looks up to Shinso and then screams, almost falling out of their chair, but immediately starts giggling. The group's looking at him like he's crazy, but they can't help it. It's too funny. "Mito, ha, didn't hear you, ha, come in. Glad to have you, ha." Denki finally gets out, and everyone turns around seeing Midoriya in his seat, eating one of those jelly packs that they've seen Mr. Aizawa eating. He waves, tilting his head, which he seems to do a lot. It's cute. Mina gets up and walks over to him, slowly putting her arms around his shoulders, giving him the opportunity to push away, but he doesn't, before squeezing him. Lightly. "Izubabe, when did you get here? We thought you were venturing again." Mina asks, smiling at the blank boy. He puts the jelly pack in his mouth to free his hands. "I was going to stay there, but decided to come back. I got this from the vending machine." He signs, leaning into Mina, who smiles widely at the action. "There's a vending machine in the vents?" Shinso asks. "Right, vents don't normally have vending machines." Denki thinks to themselves. "There's a vending machine in the room in the vents." Mito signs. "Oh, of course the room in the vents, that makes sense." Shiro jokes and Mito nods, seemingly oblivious of the joke. They laugh a bit. They continue their lunch. Denki already loves his friends. Izuku is sitting with his friends during lunch. At first he went to the vents like the day before, but he went back. Now he has a way to contact them and for them to contact him. They're in the middle of lunch when the alarm starts going off, and Izuku slams his hands over his ears, before pushing his headphones on. His friends seem to be panicking. He has to stay calm. He looks out the window. It's the motherfucking reporters from this morning. That sees him off. He sees Kaminari hands pressed over his ears, crouched on the ground. Shiro is sitting by them, arm around them, pulling them into him. Kirishima and Mina look unsure of what to do. Shinso is closest to him, earphones pressed in, handing his headphones down to Shiro for Kaminari. Izuku walks over to Shinso and taps his arm. Shinso turns to him and starts signing, asking if he's okay, which no he's not. Loud noises upset him and he might cry soon, but he's pushing it down. Izuku gently holds Shinso's hands to stop him and pulls him to the window, freeing one hand and pointing down to the crowd of reporters. He looks back at Shinso and points to Kirishima and Mina, and Shinso seems to understand what he means because after squeezing his hand he walks over to them and starts signing. Izuku crouches in front of Shiro and Kaminari, telling Shiro it's just the press. Kaminari is having a panic attack and he doesn't seem to see his signs, so gently he grabs their hand from where it's pressed against the headphones and places it over his heart, Shiro tapping a breathing pattern on Kaminari's knee, rubbing soothing circles on his shoulder. Izuku breathes in and out calmly and exaggerated, and after a while Kaminari seems to start copying. The alarms stop going off and Mina, Kirishima and Shinso sit around them. Mina has her arms around Izuku's waist, Shinso's sitting next to him, eyes closed, head drooping a bit, and Kirishima is sitting on Kaminari's other side, quietly giving Kaminari encouragement and praise. Soon enough Kaminari is breathing calmly again, leaning heavily on Shiro, and instead of his hand on Izuku's chest, he gently holds Izuku's hand in his. They all move closer together, silent, But and that's just what seemed to be needed, Izuku thinks. The class soon starts walking in, but they don't move. Izuku thinks Ida tried to lecture them, but was stopped, which he's grateful for. Shota walks into his class after getting the reporters off of UA property to see most of his students in their seats, Ida's mouth being covered by dark shadow, and 6 of his students gathered on the ground. One of which surprisingly was Midoriya. He was surprised he was willingly that close to them, considering how he seemed to avoid being too close before. Shota walked over and crouched next to them, not too close just in case. Shinso looked over at him and gave an explanation of what had happened. The alarms went off. I think none of us are too fond of loud noises. Sparky was sent into a panic attack. Tape sat with him, acid, rocks, and I didn't know what to do, and Blank forced his headphones on and went to the window. He led me over, and I saw it was reporters, so I went and told Acid and Rocks. Blank sat down with Tape and Sparky, told Tape, and started helping Sparky out of the panic attack. We all gathered together and have not moved. Shinso told him and he nodded. Poor kids. Would you 6 like to go to my office to cool down for a bit? Drink some hot chocolate or something? He whispers. They all look up at him, and he leans in and whispers conspiratorially. I have marshmallows. Kaminari, Ashido and Kirishima giggle at that, and it brings a small smile to Siro and Shinso's face, so he thinks he's done something right. Midoriya just looks around at them waiting to see what they want to do patiently. Having been listening with one headphone on, he probably took the other off when the alarm stopped. Eventually Kaminari nods, which has the others nod too. Midoriya stands as Ashido releases him, hands still holding Kaminari's, and helps them stand, everyone else standing up on their own. They collect their things and follow him. Back in a bit, behave yourselves, he says with a glare to the class before leading them out to the staff room where the door to his office is. The teacher's lounge was mostly empty, but Hizashi and Namuri were there. They smiled and waved when he entered and then gasped when Midoriya and Kaminari, still hand in hand, trailed behind him, followed by the other 4. He's pretty sure they took a photo and he's going to ask whoever took it to send it to him. He unlocks the door to his office and ushers them in. I'll go make some hot chocolate. I'll be back, okay? He tells the kids, who nod, before closing the door and walking over to the bench where the jug is, making sure it's full and switching it on. He grabs 6 mugs and a spoon and a fresh bag of marshmallows before walking over to Nemi and Heiza. Sho, don't you have class? Also, they were like little ducklings following you. Why are they here? Hizashi asks, curious as ever. Do you want the photo I took? It is so cute, Shota. Namuri asks. Yes, please send that to me. I do have class, but I walked in, and those 6 were sitting huddled together. Because of the alarm, Kaminari had a panic attack. Midoriya helped get him out of it, after making sure they knew about it just being the press. None of them are fond of loud noises, and I was told Midoriya forced his headphones on when it started. I have a feeling that he was upset by the noise but tried to stay calm, but with the apathetic face it's hard to tell. He informs them. Oh, those poor babies. Namuri cries. I have some fidgets I give to students. Want to see if they would like some to keep? Hizashi asks. Sure, thanks. I think some of them probably need something to do with their hands sometimes anyways. I think I'm going to bring in fidgets to class at some point. Anyways, yeah, I'm making them hot chocolate with marshmallows. Shota replies. Oh, give them 1 moment. Namuri says, opening one of her drawers. These, something to snack on if they feel like it, she says, holding up a box of crackers. Okay, I will do so. Can you check on them every now and then while I'm in class, and if they stay until the bell, tell them they can leave please. Shota requests, heading back to make the hot chocolate. Sure, Sho. No problem. They say in unison, which has them all laughing. He puts all the cups on a tray, with the box of crackers and bag of marshmallows, and heads to his office, knocking and opening the door. All right, kids, here you are. Feel free to come back to class if you want, but no pressure to. You can stay here until the bell goes if you prefer. He tells them, getting nods and thank yous in response. I just have one more thing to bring in here, and I'll be off. With that he leaves again and returns a moment later with a box. Okay, so Mike said that you are free to choose something from here to keep if you want. If you need anything, Present Mike and Midnight are out there, or you can come get me. He tells them. They nod. Okay, be good. Shota heads back to class. Shota's nearly to the classroom when he hears shouting. He walks faster. They didn't do anything wrong. What is your problem? They were supposed to be in their seats when the bell rang. Thush. The villain kid probably made them do it. I heard there are 2 of them. Shut the hell up already about the din nerd. Bakugo, I must ask dash. All of you quiet. That is enough. He bursts in, quirk-powered glare scanning over all of them. What is going on? He asks. Sir, Mineta, Uraraka and Ida are being quirkist against Midoriya and I think another student. Also Ida has a problem with those 6 not having been in their seats when the class came in, but he has been lecturing Midoriya every opportunity he gets. For how he decorates himself, for the things he does, when teachers don't even bring it up. He doesn't do the same for others who have badges and earrings, and all that. He seems to just pick on him. So does Bakugo, but I'm not sure what's going on there. Jiro tells him. He nods to her. I am going to say this once. Leave them alone. If you have a problem, or think something is a problem, tell an adult. They haven't done anything wrong. Midoriya hasn't done anything wrong. If I find out you cause him or anyone trouble, it will be dealt with. Midoriya has broken none of the dress code. Him doing the things he does, that's just how he does things. It's not your business. If it's a problem, I will deal with it. Have I made myself clear? The class nods back. Good. Shota proceeds to teach them, wishing he had remembered to make himself coffee. He wishes he could expel them, but he needs more reason, according to Nizupa. So he'll wait for the right moment. In Mr. Aizawa's office, Izuku is sitting between Shinso and Kaminari, Kaminari leaning into his side, pushing him a bit into Shinso. Izuku doesn't mind, he melts into the non-painful contact instead, as they drink hot chocolate, which he hasn't had since he was young. Mina is sitting in front of him, leaning against his legs, and Kirishima and Siro are in the beanbags by Kaminari's legs. Siro decided to get out his laptop to put on a movie, which is something his phone doesn't really let him do. They put on a cartoon called Inside Out. Izuku felt himself melt further into Shinso and Kaminari, as he watched with childish awe in his eyes. Hitoshi was blessed. Midoriya was leaning into him while they watched a movie, partly because Kaminari is curled into his side, but he also seems to be melting into the contact. He can see a light in his green eyes, happiness, content maybe, as they watch the characters move on screen. He's a little worried about him. Worried he doesn't get to watch movies. Worried he doesn't get enough hugs. Worried he doesn't get to be a kid, but he also doesn't know, because what if he does? He is sure that they will make sure he gets to be a kid anyways though. Hanta got a really good photo of all of them together while they were watching the movie. He'll make sure he sends it to them later. Hizashi went to check on Shota's kiddos. His friend has already gotten quite attached to some of them, these ones being some of them. He quietly opened the door to peek in, seeing empty mugs set on the tray, a movie playing on someone's laptop, and all of them cuddled together. Shinso, Midoriya and Kaminari all melted together on the couch, Ashido leaning against Midoriya's legs, Siro and Kirishima leant against each other by Kaminari. He snaps a photo of the scene and sends it to the UA teachers group chat. UA adult children. Screech, insert image. Screech at Sleepy, look at your kids Shota. They are so cute. Nemnem. Oh my god. Cute. Would it be weird to print this and put it on my desk? I'll do it anyway tbh. Sleepy at Nemnem, yes it would, but print one for me too at Screech. They aren't my kids, they my students. My adorable students. Blood, your texting ability SCKS. God, I would like a copy as well for the yearbook. God. Shota Cub, were you aware that Midoriya goes through the vents? Sleepy, Sleepy, he just popped out. Sleepy, hello. Marshmallow, they're so cute. Gasp Mini Shota? Screech, Mini Shota. Sleepy, no. Pew pew Shota, size. Nem nem, haha. Unfun. Young Midoriya is a disrespectful young lady. Sleepy, young man. Also no he isn't. You earn respect and you have not. Ning. Demchim, very kind boy too. Screech, very smart, scarily smart honestly. He is already fluent in English and JSL, so I have him working on ASL. Unfun. her file says she's female, and she is very rude. She ignored me and walked out of class before I let them go. Nemnem, his file says he's you transphobe. Nizu, do I get to lecture him? God, yes, transphobia is unacceptable. You will listen to Miss Nemuri and you will listen well. Are we clear? Unfun, yes sir. Denki feels a lot better after relaxing with their friends and hot chocolate. I hope we have more times like these, he thinks as they shift, leaning into Midoriya more. They stay together in the room until the bell goes. Izuku finds himself standing in front of a bus, in his hero uniform waiting for his classmates. Aizawa is standing beside him as Izuku makes sure he has everything and that it all works. They're going to a rescue training facility. Izuku pulls out one of his stickers. It's a happy little cat. He looks at his teacher and at the sticker, and does something impulsive. He turns to the man who raises an eyebrow at him and quickly smacks the sticker on the man's chest and turns away. Hitoshi is so glad he pressed record on his camera as he was walking to the bus with Kaminari, Shiro, and Kirishima, a couple other classmates around them, because he has proof of what they just witnessed and that they didn't just start cackling for no reason. They just watched Midoriya smack a sticker on their teacher and act like he didn't as the man gaped at him. He keeps doing things and it's making Hitoshi crush on him even harder. Shota was just minding his own business standing next to Midoriya, when the short kid turns to him, then suddenly he's being smacked and turned away from. He's sure his expression must have been stupid, and he can hear some of his students cackling. He looks down at where he was smacked and sees a cat sticker, and he can't help that he smiles a bit under his capture weapon. He sees the kid's friends go up to him laughing and asking why, to which he just shrugs, making them laugh harder. While he has time, he pulls his phone out, takes a picture of him and the sticker, another picture of the kid and his friends and sends it to the teacher's group chat. UA adult children. Sleepy, insert image. Sleepy, insert image. Sleepy, so me and the kid were waiting for the class to arrive, and so I was minding my own business, right? And the kid turns to me then smacks me and turns away. Sleepy, so I was like if then I look down and see this. Some of his class saw this happens too, what? God, I saved a clip from the security footage of it happening. God, insert video. Screech, OMG. He so did that on impulse and I love it. Build. That kid has a whole pocket of cute stickers and band-aids. Nemnem, that's adorable. Marshmallow, do you think that kid would like a hug? I want to hug him. Sleepy, I feel like everyone should want to hug him. He's just so small and weird it's great. Pew pew. That's true, I've had him in 2 classes and he looks very huggable and is very weird, but it's good weird. Sleepy, oof my class is here hi by moi love almost all of you. Izuku can hear Ida shouting at everyone to line up and he would just walk on the bus but Kaminari has her arm around his shoulders and he's melting into them. When they finally get on the bus, Ida seems to have thought the bus had a different layout, because he starts shouting more as Uraraka says something to him loudly. He's not processing their words though, instead he leans into Kaminari as they sit down, content. Mina's on his other side and Shinso's by them. Kirishima is sitting across from Kaminari, Shiro is across from him. The class talks, and the bus is loud but it's muffled by the headphones. He just rests on Kaminari. He rests until someone pokes his cheek, which makes him lift a hand to flick the switch on his headphones from muffled to clear, making it so he can hear as he normally would if not a little better. He opens an eye and sees Mina looking at him with a smile, so he waves. Sorry Izababes. Tsu has a question for you, are you okay with listening to it, maybe answering? Mina asks. He feels like rubbing his eyes, but it would smudge his eyeliner. He settles for blinking a couple times, before nodding, not moving from where he's leaning into Kaminari's side. Mina grins, and slowly ruffles his hair before turning and pointing at who he guesses is Tsu. Midoriya, Ribbit, I'm blunt and always speak my mind, please know I don't mean to be offensive or mean. You seem to be very quiet, and I know you aren't the only person who is in this class, but the other is seen as nervous, anxious, and shy. You don't express your emotions so it's hard to tell. I was wondering if there was a reason you're so quiet that you'd be willing to tell? If not, that's okay too, Ribbit. Tsu asks. Izuku thinks on this for a moment. The bus isn't as loud as before, which means people are listening. He thinks what to say, wanting to give an answer for the polite person who asks out of curiosity, he believes. So he thinks about what to say. The feeling of being unable to speak disappears for a moment, and so he opens his mouth and in a quiet voice, he speaks. At some point during primary school, I'm not sure when, I eventually stopped talking around other people, only talking to myself. People are cruel. Even when you're a child. Not to everyone, sure, but there are people unlucky. I was bullied. I know that. I also know that others here were too. Not because they told me, but because of the way they act and the knowledge that not everyone here has a quirk that others won't judge, even though all of them are surely amazing because they're a part of you. I don't know how bad others were bullied, but I know that I was bullied enough at a young age to just stop talking. The people from kindergarten were in my classes until last year of middle school. 10 years of being bullied by the same kids. All because I got a quirk that does what it does. They got me to hate my quirk, when I used to be fascinated by it. I would get blamed and accused. I would be tripped and shoved. I would be punched and kicked. I would be stolen from and have my things destroyed. I'd be dragged so I could be beaten. I would be blindfolded when I'd done nothing. Yelled at when I asked for help. Ignored when I'd cry. There is still probably more that was done. Talking got harder, asking for help was pointless, asking for them to stop only angered. Eventually there was no reason to speak, and at some point I realized I probably had selective mutism, because sometimes I'd try to speak and nothing came out. This is the most I've spoken to anyone since I was a child. Kaminari squeezes him a bit, so he looks up, having at some point looked down to focus on the words, and Kaminari gives him a smile, but Izuku sees her eyes are misty. Izuku looks at his other friends. Kirishima has tears running down his face and a hand over his mouth. Siro gives him a smile, but something about it seems sad. Mina is crying and has taken his hand, squeezing it lightly. He repeats the action back. He then makes eye contact with Shinso, whose eyes are misty, but his face holds so much understanding, which is when he knows he's gone through something similar. He looks at Tsu, who is crying into her hands too, and he simply thinks that she seems kind. The bus is quiet and there are others who are crying or emotional, and others who aren't. They quietly support each other, and it's more kindness than Izuku has seen since he was 4. Izuku looks over to where their teacher is and sees him with his own misty eyes looking at him. Mr. Aizawa gives a small smile and a nod, and he nods back. Shota was not expecting what he heard in the bus, but he recorded it for later. He knows his own eyes are misty after listening to him speak. He sees his students emotional, some of the most stoic and calm even. He sees some cry, and he watches as his students support each other. He secretly takes a photo of the scene for later. He notices a few people who look frustrated and uncaring and knows he has to keep an eye on them. The bus finally pulls over and most of the tears are gone. Though they are still emotional. When they stand to get off the bus, Kaminari pulls him into a proper hug which he melts into, and then the rest of his friends join in too. Then they split and got off the bus. This time Shinso puts an arm around him as they were waiting, smiling down at him as he sinks into his side. Izuku has a bad feeling. So he pushes his goggles on and flicks the switch on his headphones to enhance his hearing. He immediately jolts, hearing multiple people nearby, and runs over to Mr. Aizawa and 13, startling Shinso and getting multiple odd looks. He tugs his teacher's sleeve and shakes his hands. "Are there other people here?" He whispers urgently. "There shouldn't be, why?" 13 asks. He yanks his headphones off and hands them to Aizawa, who puts them on. The man's eyes widen and he takes them off, handing them back. Villains have infiltrated the building, he tells 13, who immediately starts making calls. "Everyone, get back on the bus. Now." Aizawa calls, goggles now on. "Would you like me to send an emergency signal?" Izuku asks as he jogs to the bus with Aizawa. "Yeah, kid, thanks. We'll head back to the classroom and stay there until things at the USJ are handled. Police and heroes are on their way." The erasure hero tells him as they get on the bus, doors closing behind him. The class is panicking when they get in, and the bus has started to move. Shinso grabs his hand and pulls him over, asking if he's okay. Kirishima is on his other side looking worried. "I'll explain what's happening, but I need you to stay calm," Mr. Aizawa says, waiting for the class to quiet. The USJ was infiltrated by villains. We aren't sure how many or how dangerous. So we are heading back to the school and are staying there until we are told we can leave. Thanks to Midoriya, we didn't go inside where we would definitely be outnumbered, considering the amount of voices and noise. The class becomes loud and he finds himself sinking into Shinso's side, Shinso wrapping his arms around him. A while later they're all in their usual uniforms, and in the classroom. Izuku sits on top of the cupboard again and his friends sit cuddled in the corner below him. He unscrews the vent cover and climbs in, heading to the vent room. When he gets there he waves at the camera and heads straight to the vending machine. He gets a raspberry jelly pack for himself, and a strawberry one for Mr. Aizawa. He gets Shinso red licorice, Kaminari peanut M&Ms, Mina Oreos, Kirishima a Kit Kat, and Siro a Twix bar. Then he turns around looking around the room, looking at the chessboard in the corner, that already has a piece moved and moves a piece on the other side. He waves to the camera again and races off on light feet back to the classroom. He drops in, only noticed by Aizawa, and puts the snacks down to screw the vent cover back on. Then he climbs down from his spot, and walks over to Aizawa handing him the strawberry jelly. He gets a smile in response from the man and walks over to his friends. Izuku sits down in front of them, legs crossed and hands them their snacks, which they happily thank him for. Izuku is pulled into a hug by Siro and Shinso, and he sinks into it, drinking his jelly. You guys want to see a video of Midoriya smacking our teacher? Shinso whispers and Izuku just stares at him as the rest of his friends laugh and nod. Eventually they were able to. Izuku spent his 5-day break that they got thanks to the break-in, drawing in his room and hanging out in nearby playgrounds to avoid Inko. Eventually it was Monday though, and on his very little amount of sleep, he walked into school with his headphones blasting music in his ears. Shota is in the middle of telling the class about the sports festival when a phone rings. He sees Midoriya answer it and stops talking. He watches and the class does too. Hi. The pause. Yes, that's my legal name. Another pause. Is that all? Another pause. Yes, I'm fine. Why? No, this is just how I talk. Have a good day. Then Midoriya hangs up. What was that about, kid? Shota asks. Oh, they just called to tell me my mom died. The class erupts at that, asking why he isn't sobbing, why he doesn't care, if he's okay. The F-dash? Auntie's dead. Bakugo shouts. Yeah, someone shot her and 2 other people. Midoriya says with a shrug. Do you have any relatives? Shota asks. No. The person on the phone seems to think my dad lives with me though. I've never met him. Midoriya says quietly. Okay, stay after school, kiddo, we'll figure it out. You up to classes today or nah? Shota asks gently. I'm fine. Midoriya says with a shrug. Shota texts Hizashi to ask him to make sure his spare room is set up, and Nizupa to tell him he's fostering a student. His friends have decided to take him to the cafeteria today because apparently he needs to eat food and they like his suffering. Shinso has an arm around his shoulders and Izuku is gripping his blazer, sinking into his side as they make their way to the classroom door. He sees Katsuki open the door and as soon as it's open Izuku sinks further into Shinso, feeling the arm around his shoulders tighten. There is a FING crowd of a-hole teenagers right in front of the door. It's okay, Ghosty. We won't let them near you. He hears Shinso murmur, so he hums, bringing his free hand up to grip Shinso's shirt. So you're the famous class that almost got attacked. I heard one of you was the hero and saved everyone before you even went in. You're all cowards. Someone with a large chin mocks. Izuku is externally calm, but internally panicking. He hates this. There is more said, but Izuku doesn't pay attention, instead burying his face into Shinso's shirt, trying to block out the noise. There's not a foam mic to bite into to get them to shut up and F off. Izuku mutters into Shinso's shirt, and he feels and hears the cackle Shinso lets out. He hears Kaminari too, who was standing beside them, everyone else in their group standing in front of them, acting as some sort of shield. Eventually the crowd leaves and they're off to lunch much to Izuku's disdain. Hey, it's not that bad, we can even sit outside if you'd rather. Siro says and Izuku looks at him for a moment. Neither of those options sound pleasant. Izuku mutters. Shinso's arm around him shakes a little and he looks up to see him laughing. Come on, Ghosty, you're eating whether you like it or not. Shinso says. Izuku sighs but continues to walk. Bestie, you've hardly eaten, you can't be done. Mina says. Izuku looks down fidgeting with his hands. Okay, at least eat a bit more please? Izuku sighs but nods and picks up his fork again. He doesn't tend to eat much, years of not eating a lot because you can't, does that to you, but he's also just not a big fan of eating in general. Mito, how are you feeling? Kirishima asks, and Izuku knows what this is about. Is this about my mother? He asks quietly, shoving some rice into his mouth. Yeah, Kirishima replies. With a sigh, Izuku swallows and puts his fork down. I wasn't lying when I said I was fine. I know I probably shouldn't be. That I should be sobbing into my hands, and if I was for I would be. I did. In my life Inko was two different people in the same body. Until I got my quirk she was loving and kind. After I got my quirk, that all went away. I won't go into detail. I don't know what will happen next though. Izuku tells them quietly in the loud room. You, my dear, are allowed to feel however you feel. You deserved better, you deserved love and care. Kaminari tells him. Okay. Izuku says and leans into them as they continue to eat. Shota is on his way to his class to talk to Midoriya. Midoriya caught his interest before the school year began, now he will be his kid for as long as he wants. He wonders if Midoriya would like to learn how to use the capture weapon. He walks into the classroom and sees Midoriya at his desk alone. He walks over and sits in Shinso's seat sideways. Hey kid, how's your day been? Shota asks quietly. Midoriya looks at him, not in the eyes but close, before answering. It's been fine. Got dragged to the cafeteria today. I hate it there already. If you're asking because my mother died, don't worry, I'm not devastated. Midoriya whispers and Shota now is worried and confused. You're not? Why is that, kiddo? He asks gently. Inko was two people in one body. For 4 years she was loving and kind. For the last 11 years she's been mean and hateful. I don't really want to go into detail though. I just want to know what happens next. Midoriya tells him. Shota feels that this kid has been abused at home, not just at school, and has received none of the love he deserves. Well, I've activated my foster license and you can come stay with me. If you decide you don't want to stay with me anymore, I can find somewhere safe for you. So today we will go to your apartment, collect your things, pick up dinner and watch a movie before going to bed. Shota tells the boy, willing to wait until he's ready to talk about what he's been through. I don't have much. I have old notebooks and sketchbooks, a box that has a photo album, a baby blanket, a stuffed bear, and my birth certificate. I also have some clothes I got at a second-hand store. I have some art supplies, makeup and a purple knife. Oh, and a toothbrush and toothpaste. Everything else isn't mine. You might want to call Bakugo's mom, Aunt Mitsuki, to ask if she wants anything. It should be a quick trip. The kid tells him. He really doesn't have a lot and that makes him upset for the kid. He deserves to have so much more. All right, let's go. Shota says as he stands. You can call me Izuku if you want. I hate my last name. Izuku tells him in his quiet voice. Of course, Izuku, call me whatever you're comfortable with. Shota says with a smile. The first thing Shota notices as he walks into the apartment is small blood stains on the floor and on the walls. He ignores it in favor of helping the kid collect his things. Are you excited for the sports festival, kiddo? Shota asks. No, Izuku mutters back, collecting things and stuffing them into his bags. Why is that? Shota asks, looking around the empty room. Crowds. Tension. The fact that I'm pretty sure at least 2 people are going to try murder me. Competitivity. But Quirkus expecting a flashy quirk. Izuku lists and Shota nods. Those are good reasons. Then he realizes what one of the things he said was. Who do you think is going to murder you? He asks, needing to know. Katsuki and Ida. The kid replies simply with a shrug as he stands done packing. Why? Shota asks as they leave the apartment. They hate me. Uraraka and I think Mineta hate me too, so they might join in. Is the reply he gets. Hopefully you aren't killed then. Shota mutters, seeing Izuku nod. He's going to do all he can to make sure he isn't. Izuku is following Aizawa through a hallway. They had just picked up dinner, now they're on their way to Aizawa's apartment, now his too. Okay, so Present Mike, Hizashi Yamada and Midnight, Namuri Kiyama, are our neighbors, so if you need anything and I'm not there, head over to their apartment, they'd be overjoyed to have you. Aizawa tells him as he unlocks the door. This is our apartment. Welcome home. Izuku follows Aizawa in. There's a hallway that goes straight down, there are 4 doors and 2 openings into different rooms. The walls are a pastel blue and there are framed photos on the walls. Okay. So to the left is the kitchen. You are welcome to eat anything you want as long as it doesn't have a note on it, or you're allergic. Please do eat, you look like you haven't eaten enough. To the right is the living room, hang out in there whenever you feel like it, watch TV if you want. Further down the first door on the right is my room, knock before entering. Across from my room on the left is your room, we are going shopping in the weekend. You need more than what you have. Further down there is the laundry room on the left, there are towels on the shelves there. Across from that on the right is the bathroom, shower as much as you feel like. Aizawa tells him, then leads him into the living room. Now give me your bags, I'll put them away and you can put on a movie and get comfy. So that's what Izuku did. Soon enough Izuku and Aizawa were watching a pre-Quirk cartoon called Big Hero 6 and eating their dinner. Izuku felt comfortable. Throughout the week Izuku had been getting used to staying at Aizawa's and training for the sports festival, as well as usual classes. Finally it was Sunday and Izuku just wanted to not move from his bed. Of course he can't though. Because there is a knock on the door and then the door's opening. Hey kid, we're going shopping today, remember? Aizawa says as he comes over and runs a hand through his hair. Izuku sighs. I know, we can come back afterwards and I'll get you hot chocolate before we come back here. Ugh, shopping, he mutters as he sits up. I'll leave you to get ready, Kit. After patting his head a final time, the man leaves. Well, good morning, time to start the day. Izuku sticks close to Aizawa the second they walk into the mall, gripping the back of the man's sweater, the man's arm around his shoulders so he can be close to his side, his headphones on muffling the noise of the people buzzing and music blaring. Aizawa leads him into the first store and he can tell that it's quieter inside the moment they get in. Aizawa makes him pick 5 t-shirts and 3 long-sleeve shirts from this store. The clothes in this store are plain with nice fabrics. He does as asked and they're on to the next store, where he picks plain and comfortable pants and shorts. The next store was underwear and socks. He also had to get a sports bra, unfortunately, but was told they could order a new binder later, which made him really happy. The next store was more interesting. Aizawa told him to pick clothes he liked the look of. Izuku wandered through the store, Aizawa close behind him, never having been able to come to a store like this, he loves it. He picked some interesting patterned button-up shirts and pants, some had chains, which he loved, he got some belts and cat-eared hoodies. He thought they were cute. Then Izuku is back to holding on to Aizawa as they make their way to the next store. In this store they get decent quality eyeliner and eyeshadow along with some other makeup products. They get strawberry-scented shampoo and conditioner, and a fresh-scented deodorant. They get other toiletries he needs and then they're on to the next store. Izuku gets to pick out blankets which he's excited about, the ones at his mom's apartment were all scratchy. Shota wasn't really expecting this shopping trip to go all that well, but it's going really well. Shota's been able to pick up on some of the things Izuku likes. Currently he's watching as the boy looks through the blankets with a spark in his pretty green eyes. He is so getting him a few blankets. They walk further in the store and he sees Izuku's eyes stuck on something, lighting up. It was a teal bunny plush and Shota wanted to awe at how cute Izuku could be. He put it in the basket. Wandering around the store, Shota got picked up fairy lights and a few more plushies and pillows to make the room as cozy as he can for Izuku without overwhelming him. Shota takes the kid to one last store. An arts and crafts store. Almost immediately the headphone-wearing child started to drag him around, curiosity and excitement shining in his eyes. After a while they have new art supplies and Izuku is hugging Shota from behind in silent thanks as they make it out of the mall. It makes him smile. Putting all their bags in the back of the car and getting in, Shota smiles at Izuku. Successful shopping trip? Nice job, kid. We will have to do this again. Shota tells the boy. Now hot chocolate time. Let's go. Then they're on their way to a cafe. Shota goes there often, but he doubts Izuku has been there. The people that work there are kind and make lovely drinks. Their hot chocolate is better than his, so he thinks Izuku will enjoy it. Wanna come in or wait in the car, Kit? Shota asks. Izuku is slumped in his seat, eyes drooping and headphones in his lap. Sleepy Kit. Adorable. Wait in the car please, Aiza. Izuku responds softly. That was cute. He has the cutest kid. Yes, he is his kid. Claimed. Nobody else can have him. Shota thought. Alright, I'll be back soon, bud. Patting his Kit's head one last time before he leaves to get their drinks. Today was a good day. Today is a day Izuku has dreaded since he got into UA. The last few weeks he has been getting more comfortable with Aiza and living with him, with his friends, because it's still so strange to him that he has any, and he has been training a lot, often getting dragged into it. He doesn't sleep much, which just isn't helpful, he's so tired. FING insomnia. Today Izuku is sitting in the car, waiting for Aiza, and he is anxious. He's stimmying, clicking his fingers. He's taking deep breaths through his nose and out his mouth. Aiza told him he had to wear a sports bra and not a binder today. He understood why, but he was uncomfortable. So of course he put an old gray hoodie over top of it. The one with the cat on it. Izuku. When did Aiza get here? He didn't hear him. Hi. He whispers. Hey buddy, are you okay? Aiza whispers back. Is nice. Sports festival. Am I allowed to just quit before it started? I don't want to do it, he mutters, head drooping, face remaining blank, no matter how much he wants to frown. Oh love, I get it, but please do try your best. If not for yourself then for me? It would also give you more internship offers if you did, but I'm putting one in for you, so you could always just stick with me. I also thought maybe you could have fun. If you ignore the noise and the people around you when you can, then maybe you'd have some fun. You can also wear your headphones. I already sent in paperwork to make sure you could. Anyways, please try. For me, darling. Aiza says, and Izuku breaks quickly. Doing this for Aiza might make it slightly better. Not a lot, but it gives him reason to do it. Aiza, can we watch movies after? Izuku asks, now wondering if his eyeliner was even, which he thinks it is. Of course, Kit. We can even order dinner. We will have a little party, just you and me. Aiza says with a smile. Now, I should start driving. Izuku was hesitant to get out of the car. Ugh, this is such a nightmare, he thought as he opened the door and got out. Aiza kneels in front of him, one hand on his head, with a smile. Okay, Kit, I'll be in the announcement booth, unfortunately, you can come there anytime. Don't hesitate to come to me if you need me. Okay, you do your best out there, no matter what I'll still be proud of you. Aiza tells him and Izuku knows his eyes widened. Proud? But why? Izuku asks shakily. Why wouldn't I be? You're my kid. You have done so well getting to where you are today. I'm proud of that. I'm proud that you are still going. I'm glad that I'm going to be able to be there with you as you get older and grow. I am proud of you. I think people should have always been proud of you. You are an amazing and smart child, Izuku. Even if you were only my student, I would have been proud of you, and proud to be your teacher. I not only get to be proud to be your teacher, but also your guardian. Aiza tells him, and before he can continue, Izuku has slowly wrapped his arms around the man's neck. Izuku feels arms settle around him, a hand still in his hair. His kid. I'll do my best, Aiza. He whispers into the man's capture weapon. Thank you. Try to have fun too, Kit. Aiza whispers back into black curls. Izuku walked into the 1A waiting room, unnoticed. He discreetly made his way to where Shinso was and sat next to him. His other friends weren't too far away. Hey Ghosty. Han, you okay? Shinso asks him. Izuku slumps into his side, feeling two arms wrap around him. I don't want to do this stupid sports festival, but my guardian wants me to do my best, so I gotta. Luna, I want to go home, Izuku tells him, mumbling into his shirt, words barely clear enough to hear. Fair. I don't want to do this either, Ghosty. We can do this together. Us against the school. Shinso says dramatically. Okay, Shinso, Izuku says, wrapping his arm around Shinso's waist. You can call me Hitoshi. I think we understand each other too much for you to not have first name privileges. Shinso whispers into his hair. You can call me Izuku, same reason, plus I hate my last name. He mumbles back. After that they sit in comfortable silence, arms around each other. Until Midoriya. Todoroki says, standing above them. No. He's not here right now, try again when he gives enough to converse. He mumbles into Hitoshi's shirt, only heard by Hitoshi, who snorts, squeezing him gently. Looking at everything objectively, I believe I am stronger than you. Yeah. Happy now? He mutters, gaining another snort from Hitoshi. I'm going to beat you. Todoroki declares. Okay, have fun. Izuku sighs. Are you okay, hon? Hitoshi mutters for only him to hear. Izuku nods. In response, you do strange things, that makes you interesting. You stopped an attack before anything could happen. So you're already ahead. I will beat you. Todoroki says. Todoroki. Izuku says it loud enough to be heard. He makes eye contact with Todoroki, so he knows he has his attention. Your father is an a-hole. He says, and suddenly Todoroki is sitting in front of him. Now he's intrigued. You think so too? The boy asks him. Izuku does think so. The amount of property damage and civilian and villain casualties is awful. He thinks now there is more reason to dislike him. I do. He isn't nice from what I've seen, he does way too much property damage, and there are too many casualties with him involved. I'm sorry you have to live with him. He mutters to the boy. Yeah. He is. Todoroki says softly. You know that you don't have to prove yourself to anyone? Especially him. You are your own person. He can't make you be someone. Yes, the boy. I don't know. He expects me to win. He expects me to use his fire. I don't want to become him. So I'll win without his fire. The boy whispers with his head down. Honey, Izuku murmurs, sitting up a bit in Hitoshi's arms and grabbing Todoroki's hands. You aren't him. You're Shoto Todoroki. That's your name, right? He gets a nod. You are Shoto Todoroki. You have ice. You have fire, and the best part is that it's yours. It's your power, not his. He can't control it, you can, you alone. He tells Todoroki. The boy's eyes are wide and a bit misty. But power? Todoroki asks in a small voice. Izuku thinks he understands some of Todoroki in a way others here most likely don't. They're all staring, he realizes, he tries to block it out. Yeah. Just like I hypnotize, you have fire and ice. I understand not wanting to use your quirk, everyone made me hate mine. The thing about quirks though, is that they are tools. You use them when you need them. So you could still prefer your ice and use it most, but use fire when you need it. Just like if I need to use I hypnotize, then I can. Izuku says. Oh, I think I like that. Thank you. Todoroki whispers. You're welcome. There's something about you that feels familiar to me. I think we are similar in some way. Just like with Hitoshi, but it's not the same thing. Izuku tells his fellow apathetic boy. I feel that too. Do you want to be friends? Todoroki asks. Sure. Izuku says with a nod, still being hugged by Hitoshi and holding Todoroki's hands. Then call me Shoto. I hate my last name. Shoto tells him. Call me Izuku. I also hate my last name. Izuku responds. Then Shoto just quietly sits with him and Hitoshi, Izuku still holding his left hand. Mina, Kaminari, Shiro and Kirishima come and sit with them too. You can call me Izuku too. I meant to tell you earlier but never ended up doing it. Izuku says to them. He thinks he's getting to his talking limit. Call me Denki. All of you can. Hanta, we're all friends, why not? Call me Ijiro. You already call me Mina, you too Todoroki, you're our friend now too. Okay, you can call me Shoto please. Hitoshi. Then they're having a conversation, and Izuku is only half listening, sinking into Hitoshi with a sigh. Then he hears Yaoyorozu tell everyone they were about to be announced. Shoto walked into the announcement booth and immediately hugged Hisashi from behind as he did whatever he was doing. He was feeling feelings again. Shota. You okay, buddy? Hisashi asked, shifting so he could see where Shota was hiding his face in his shoulder. There's a hand in his hair and it's a nice feeling that makes him melt further into his friend. I'm so proud of my kid. He doesn't want to do the sports festival, but he said he'd try his best for me. I'm both nervous and excited to see how he does. He hugged me after I told him I was proud of him, which made me happy. Then I'm worried about whatever the F my class is going to do. I'm feeling too many things. He whines. Shota. It's okay. God, your kiddo is the sweetest. Your class is wacky though. I brought coffee. Aiza said. Shota's head shot up and he squeezed Aiza before sitting down. You did? Shota asked, leaning forward in his seat. Here you go, my dear friend. Hisashi dramatically handed him a travel cup of coffee. Thank you, he says with a smile. No prob. A couple minutes until we start. Aiza cheers. Oh no. I forgot I had to announce. Shota whines. We are in the announcement booth, sunshine. Aiza teases. Shota pouts, which gets a laugh. Good luck, kid. Izuku and Hitoshi have their pinkies linked as they wait in the dark hallway. Izuku had his headphones on and didn't take off his hoodie, not willing to take it off, not willing to feel more dysphoric than he already felt. Suddenly they're moving. Izuku walks close to Hitoshi and doesn't look up from the ground. He knows the crowd is loud as soon as they're stepping into the sun. He looks up and sees Denki with his hands over his ears. Immediately Izuku is pulling Hitoshi with him as he pulls earphones out of his pocket. He always keeps them on him just in case. He makes sure Denki sees him and offers the earphones. She takes them gratefully and hugs him as soon as they're in. Then they're facing the front again. Izuku doesn't know what exactly was being said, he wasn't paying attention, but one moment he and Hitoshi had their pinkies linked, and the next he was being shoved all the way to the stage. Alone. He looked at Midnight and tilted his head. She seemed to understand his confusion and signed to him. Come up here. You have a speech. At that Izuku froze. He knows he paled and that his hands started shaking. He shakily walked up the stairs and walked over to the microphone. He can't speak. This is a FNG nightmare. He looks up and there are too many people. This is horrifying. He turns to Midnight. I don't want to do this, can I leave? He signs with a shake that is hardly noticed. She nods and he walks off stage and rushes back to Hitoshi, hiding behind him, burying his face in his friend's back. He hears the muffled announcement that they were doing an obstacle course. Hitoshi takes his hand and leads him over to where they're supposed to go. The first obstacle is the tunnel, Izuku thinks. He can see Shoto, Mina, Denki, Eijiro, and Hanta nearby. He thinks they can work together. So he gets closer to them and they start to plan. Hitoshi thinks Izuku is amazing. He's pretty, he's smart, he's brave. Sometimes he says things he finds funny, sometimes he says worrying things. He's quiet always. He's caring and helpful. Hitoshi thinks Izuku is one of his favorite people. He likes him and has since he saw him on day one. He's glad he is comfortable with him, that Hitoshi is who he went to hide behind. Right now Hitoshi is waiting for when they're allowed to go. Start is called and Hitoshi and his friends all jump as Shoto freezes everyone to the ground, then they're all climbing on top of the people and running on their shoulders through the tunnel. Well, Siro uses his tape to get through. Wow. 7 already out. They seem to be working together. They're all 1A students. Todoroki, Ashido, Shinso, Midoriya, Kirishima, Siro, Kaminari, all racing all out of the tunnel. Eraser anything to say? Present Mike cheers. They figured out the first obstacle was the tunnel and worked together to get through, knowing not to hesitate. Aizawa states. Soon they're all out and racing alongside each other. Mina and Shoto are gliding on ice and acid, Siro is swinging off of trees to the side with Denki on his back, Kirishima is running by them just in case they need to be caught, Izuku is running by him, not looking tired at all, but Hitoshi doesn't either. The experience from having to run away, he supposes. Hitoshi thinks that Izuku looks stunning in action, his hair bouncing and swaying, his movements swift and graceful. Beautiful. His steps are light and hardly heard and his eyes are focused. So beautiful. Hitoshi is so gay. He focuses back on running. They come up to the next obstacle. Robots. My worst enemy. It took me halfway through the exam to find the off button. I was extremely lucky there were rescue points, Hitoshi thought as he slowed. Other members of 1A and 1B have made it out of the tunnel. Just as the 7 in the lead make it to the next obstacle. Robo Inferno. Present Mike shouts, seemingly excited. Although as he slowed he turned slightly to Izuku. There is a glint in his eyes. Then Izuku runs faster and Hitoshi watches in awe. His friends have all stopped and are watching for what he's going to do. Hitoshi watches as Izuku runs, undetected at one of the robots, climbing up it and disappearing from sight. Then the robot powers down and Izuku is jumping off it, running to the next one, and Hitoshi knows he has to be blushing, because Izuku has a happy glint in his eyes and his movements are so free, he wants to see that look more. Eraser. One of your students has taken down almost all the bots by himself. What are you teaching him? Present Mike screeches. Midoriya, first in the entrance exam, he caught on to how to defeat these, Quirkless, with the first robot he fought during the exam. These are the same robots, he already knew how to take them down. He seems to just enjoy doing it though. Aizawa says, and Hitoshi can see how Izuku stumbles a bit, possibly realizing that he's letting himself show some of his enjoyment, even if it's not noticeable to those who don't know to look for it. Then Izuku is turning to them and gesturing them forward, which snaps them out of their trance and they start running forward to him and onto the next obstacle. Holy shit! I'm so watching the recording of this later with my moms. He can hear explosions and engines and shouts from behind them. The 7 still in the lead are getting close to the third obstacle, the fall. Be careful, you fall you're out. Present Mike shouts. Hitoshi sees Shoto run forward, ahead of them, and suddenly there's a path of ice for them to get across. And it seems Shoto has practiced making shapes with the ice, because it's like a bridge with walls to keep them from slipping off. Shoto ushers them all on and they make their way across, Shoto melting it behind them, concentrating hard, possibly because of his lack of practice using fire. They get across and Izuku speaks up as they're running. Shoto, good job, you did well. He says, it's quiet as it always is when he talks, but there is kindness behind his words. Hitoshi thinks maybe there is a reason he said anything at all, something Izuku sees that he can't yet. He hopes he'll learn what, because he wants to be a good friend for the new apathetic boy in their group too. Thank you, Izuku. You did well with the robots. Shoto says back, just as kind, loud enough to be heard through the headphones. Maybe what he doesn't see has to do with what was familiar between them, but not between others. He thinks maybe it's about how they have been treated by family, because of their little conversation about Endeavor, and they already know Izuku wasn't treated well. Just like how Hitoshi and Izuku have how they were treated at school. He can't be sure, but he thinks it's possible. They both behave similarly. Not that Hitoshi can say anything, because he does too sometimes. If it's true they're sweethearts who need more love, deserve more love. He thinks Hanta and Denki have caught on to this too from the looks on their faces. Okay, these 7 have all made it to the last obstacle still in the lead, with only a few students close behind. They've made it to the minefield. He hears Present Mike yell, "What the F dash? A minefield?" He sees the determined looks on his friends' faces and decides, what the hell? Why not? Let's be crazy beaches. Izuku hears the announcement that the last obstacle is a minefield. He just doesn't really care and keeps running. He runs fast and the mines don't hurt, but it's more like a speed boost, so he's going faster than he's ever gone before and he feels a childish joy as he runs like he's weightless. He hears shouts from his friends but he doesn't listen, he can't hear what they say, only that they're saying something. This is the first time he has felt so free and okay with explosions. They weren't too loud for him because of his headphones, but he can still hear them slightly. If he didn't have his headphones then he doesn't think he would have felt this free. Not at all. He knows his friends are following fast behind him. Soon he's rolling off the minefield and running forward a bit, slowing and spinning around. He waits for his friends, feeling the freedom of almost weightlessness go. Soon enough they've caught up just as others start to make it to the minefield. Hitoshi and Shoto grab his hands, Denki, holding Hitoshi's and Hanta's, Mina holding Shoto's and Ijiro's, and then they're running all together through the tunnel and across the finish line. He knows the crowd went wild as they crossed the finish line, hands intertwined. He's glad he didn't hear it as loud as it was. A seven-way tie. Shiro, Kirishima, Kaminari, Ashido, Shinso, Todoroki, and Midoriya. All first place. Present Mike cheers and Izuku wonders what Aiza thought. Izuku was tugged into a hug by his friends. Shoto was new to physical affection, Izuku thinks. He seems surprised to be in the hug, but melts into it, just as he does. Izuku is melted into Kirishima, who tugged him in. His friends are the best. Soon enough they're all sitting against a wall together, waiting for the next round to start. Izuku is running his hand through Shoto's hair as he leans on him. Denki has an arm around his shoulders and Izuku has leant against his side. Positive touch makes him melt. Shota is so proud. He's going to make sure Izuku knows that. Seeing that childlike glee on his face as he turns robots off and runs across a minefield of glitter bombs made him so happy. Granted, he was tempted to ground him for just running on a minefield. He won't though, he's too proud of his kit. It was beautiful. Seeing him holding hands with his friends as he crossed the finish line made him want to cry. His kid is making UA history again, first with the entrance exam, now with his friends at the sports festival, that he didn't even want to be a part of. He kind of just wants to shout, "That's my boy," but he doesn't. He won't, but he thinks soon he's going to offer to adopt Izuku. He wants to see more of his happiness, more of just who he is. He's excited for the day he sees him smile. Shota waits though. Patient. The cavalry battle is next. The wheel's rigged so he knows. Keep going, Kit. Shoto has had an interesting day. He feels okay about using fire now, looking at it differently. He has friends, which he hadn't had many of. He had physical affection. Something he hadn't had in a long time. He also has someone who he feels is similar to him. Izuku reminds him of himself, he feels familiar, and Izuku told him himself that he felt it too. It's not been long since he met Izuku, but he's already decided he is his little brother. Someone he feels the need to protect. He is his favorite person since Tuya went away. He misses Tuya though. Izuku ran his fingers through his hair and it reminded him of Tuya. Of his mother too. He hopes Izuku doesn't go away like they did though. He hopes he stays. The next round was announced. The cavalry battle. Teams of 2 to 4. Shoto and his new friends each got 1428571 point headbands. The person in first place was supposed to get 10 million, but there were 7 of us, so they divided it between us. Mina, Ijiro, Hitoshi and Hanta teamed up, leaving Shoto, Denki and Izuku. Shoto saw someone who may or may not team with them. Shoto took Izuku's free hand, the other one holding Denki's, and led them towards them. "Momo," he said as they approached. "Shoto, you're making friends. I'm so proud of you," Momo told him. He had known Momo since he was young. She was always kind to him. "Thank you. I was wondering if you would like to be on our team." Shoto asks, head tilted. "Of course. Hi, I'm Momo Yaoyorozu. You can call me Momo or Yamamo. We haven't spoken before, Midoriya. I hope we can be friends," Momo says. Shoto assumes she has probably spoken to Denki then. To be fair, she probably tried to talk to Izuku too, but Shoto noticed in his quiet observations of his classmates, he avoids everyone except his friends. Maybe or maybe not consciously. "You can call me Izuku. I hate my last name," Izuku says softly. He seemed to struggle getting the words out. "Okay, we should make a plan," Shoto states, then they're planning. Izuku is the horse. He's at the front so he can use his quirk if necessary. They still think the activation is touch, which is good. Shoto is the rider and Momo and Denki are in the back. Izuku can see that Hitoshi is the rider in his team, Ijiro being the horse with Mina and Hanta in the back. They don't plan on attacking each other. Go is called and Shoto immediately blasts ice out, blocking anyone from coming after them. Momo has made an insulation sheet for if they should need it so Denki can use her quirk. The ice reached over the arena. They just stand there waiting for most of the time, Hitoshi's team beside them. They chat a bit. Izuku watches the edges of the ice to make sure nobody creeps in. Eventually time was called and they didn't have to do Jack's hit. Awesome. What's not awesome is they still have to participate in this stupid FING festival. Good thing it's break though. He's going to Iza, he's had enough. Hisashi had just left the announcement booth and Shota was half asleep against the desk. Then he heard a knock. He got up to answer the door. When he opened it, Izuku was there. Shota immediately and gently tugged him inside, closing the door, and bringing him over to the couch off to the side. After sitting down he wrapped his arms around him. You've done so well, kiddo. So well. I'm so proud of you. You freaked me out a bit when you ran across the minefield, but that's okay, I'll let it slide. Oh, darling, I am so proud. Shota murmurs to his tired-looking kit. Made friends again. FING weird, but maybe look into Shoto's home life. I don't think it's great. Izuku mutters. Talking doesn't seem great at the moment. Okay, will do, darling, don't worry about it. I want you to eat something, then I'll let you nap, eh, kit? I bought us lunch today so we can stay right here. Shota tells his kit, who sighs but nods. Soon enough, his kit has eaten a bit, because unfortunately he doesn't eat much and was napping his head on Shota's lap. It's the first time he's done that. Shota ran a hand through thick, black curls with a smile. He probably didn't sleep much last night, if at all. Insomnia again. Hopefully he'll sleep well tonight. Izuku fought Hitoshi first, which they decided to just play a game of tag instead of actually fighting. Unfortunately he won and Hitoshi lost. They walked out of the spotlight side by side. Then he went against Shoto. They played paper, scissors, rock to piss us off his dad. Thank if Shoto won that and he got to sit curled into Hitoshi's side for the rest of the festival. Shoto won, which set off Katsuki, who ended up chained to the podium, and Izuku froze staring at the sight. He ran up there and signed for Shoto to freeze the chains and break them off as he worked on the FING muzzle. Looking at the muzzle made him want to be sick. Eventually he got it off and threw it, before running back to Hitoshi. Who the F did that? Then he noticed the look on Hitoshi's face. Fear, horror, disgust. Immediately Izuku noticed he was shaking. Panicking. Panic attack. He was having a panic attack. Izuku gently took his hand and led him away from the crowd. He led him to an empty room and sat him down. Izuku brought Hitoshi's hand to his chest, taking in exaggerated breaths as he tapped a breathing pattern on the back of the hand. Izuku took his headphones off, glad it wasn't loud anymore. Thank you, Hitoshi whispered. Izuku wrapped his arms around him as they leant against the wall. It muzzled me at my old school. So seeing someone muzzled here was scary. Triggering. Hitoshi explained. I'm sorry. I don't think Niza did that. He wouldn't have allowed that. I think it was All Might. Most likely. He's quirkist. I will do everything in my power to make sure you never experience that again, Izuku tells the boy. Hitoshi sniffles and Izuku knows he's trying not to cry. I'm going to tell you a secret. I can take control of whoever I see. It's not from contact. That's the reason I was blindfolded a lot. Cry all you want, Lavender, it's okay, I understand. Izuku whispers. Then Hitoshi has his arms around him and is sobbing quietly into his shoulder. Izuku just holds him, whispering sweet nothings into his floaty, soft hair. Izuku thinks Hitoshi has needed this for a long time. Soon Hitoshi quietened down as Izuku rocked them side to side. Thank you. Sorry for crying on you. Hitoshi mumbles as he pulls back a bit so he's leaning against him and the wall. It's okay. You're allowed to cry. I understand. He mumbles back. They sit there quietly for a while just enjoying each other's company. Soon they got up and left. Hitoshi had to get to Mom's, so after one last hug, Hitoshi left and Izuku went to the announcer's booth. Soon Iza brought him back to the apartment, made him hot chocolate and they ate dinner watching a movie in the living room. He let himself lean into Iza. What a busy day. Izuku spent a night staring at the ceiling, listening to music, just trying but failing to sleep. That's what Iza walked into when he came to wake him up. Izuku, kid? You okay? Iza asked him as he sat on the edge of his bed. Yeah. Just couldn't sleep. He signed. It's true, he couldn't and he doesn't know why. Probably just insomnia. Oh buddy. Maybe you'll be able to nap in my office before class. Iza says. Izuku nods and sits up. Okay Kit, you get ready and I'll go make breakfast. Then Izuku is left to get ready. He put a little braid in his hair today. He did his cat eye eyeliner, sharp. He makes sure his uniform is on right and walks out of his room. He eats his breakfast with Iza, then they leave. Iza gave him a travel cup of hot chocolate too. So far it's the highlight of his day. The day has hardly started but he's been awake since the day before, so yeah. The highlight of his day. Shota leads Izuku to the teacher's lounge to get to his office. He hopes Izuku gets some sleep. When they walk in he immediately sees Nemi and Hyza and gives them a wave. Then he sees All Might and glares. He hates that guy. He takes Izuku to his office and wraps a blanket around him as soon as his cup is on the table. Soon he's lying down and his eyes are barely open. Thanks to Izuku muttered and Shota nearly cried. It's okay, darling. You sleep. He whispers. As soon as Izuku has drifted off, Shota presses a kiss to his forehead and sneaks out of the room after taking a photo of his sleepy Kit. He walks over to Hyza and Nemi and excitedly whispers. He just called me Dad. On accident, and extremely sleepy but he did. Oh my god. Shota's a dad before me. We have to celebrate. Hyza cheers quietly. Oh precious. How are you feeling, Mr. Dad Guy? Nemi asks, teasing but Shota doesn't care because he's dad, to a very sleepy Kit who most likely didn't realize he said it. Like I want to cry. He says, hiding his face in his hands. Ah, buddy. Hyza coos. Nemi stands and hugs him. Soon Hyza joins them. Shota is thought of as a father figure at least somewhat. He's so happy. Izuku wakes up to Iza poking him. He has a little smile on his face. Izuku takes a moment to make his brain less fuzzy. He realizes something. Oh my god. Did I call you Dad? He asks, getting a nod. But, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I'm sorry. Izuku mumbles into his hands. Then there are arms around him. You have nothing to be sorry for, love. You call me whatever you're comfy with. I'd be honored to be your dad. Iza says and Izuku hugs him back. Dad. He whispers. Suddenly he's squeezed and let go of. Hardly a moment later he's been picked up under his arms and spun around a couple times. He can hear Iza, Dad, laughing. He can see him smiling and he thinks he sees tears. Then he's been tugged back into a tight, but nice hug, standing in the office. I'm so happy to have you as my kid. Dad muttered into his hair. Thank you for having me, Izuku mumbles back. They stay like that for a while before Izuku pulls away. We have to go to class, don't we? Izuku asks. Dad seems to freeze, then nods. Izuku sighed. How unfortunate. Well, we should head over to class. Dad says and Izuku grabs his bag and clings to his dad's sleeve as they leave. Internships are coming up. I have lists for who have put in offers. Those of you without offers are still doing internships. I have a list of options. Dad said, handing papers to Mina and Momo to hand out. Now, this next part, I'm apparently not qualified for, so someone else Dad says, but is cut off by someone slamming open the door. That would be me. It's midnight. Today we are picking hero names. She cheers. Dad sighs and crawls into his sleeping bag. Izuku is a little jealous. White bards are handed out and everyone starts brainstorming. Hitoshi turns around in his chair and works at Izuku's desk. He doesn't mind. Izuku notices that Hitoshi's hair is less gravity-defying today. He sees his eyes are a similar color to his hair, and he had noticed before but his pupils are white like his own. Pretty. What? Izuku doesn't know how to feel about thinking someone is pretty. He's not sure it's normal. It's true though because his friend is pretty. Do you have a hero name in mind? Hitoshi asks him and Izuku thinks for a moment. He shakes his head. Neither. Wanna just base our hero names off of cats? It'll throw people off and cats are great. Hitoshi asked him with a small smile. Sure. Izuku signed back. Shinso. Your turn, what do you have? Miss Midnight asks. Hitoshi walks to the podium, feeling the eyes on him. He stands there a moment before putting his board down for display. Leopard. Everyone, not Izuku, looked at the board in confusion. Hitoshi offered no explanation. Approved. Miss Midnight cheered, looking like she wanted to ask but deciding against it. Hitoshi walks back to his seat and sends a smile to Izuku, his beautiful apathetic crush. Midoriya. Your turn. Izuku is called up and Hitoshi just knows Izuku sank in his seat. He watches as Izuku walks to the podium with his head down and silently places the whiteboard down. Panther. Hitoshi can see Mr. Aizawa looking at Midnight. She signs the name to the man and he can see the small smile Mr. Aizawa allows to grace his face. Interesting. Approved. What's with the cat theme? Miss Midnight asks. Hitoshi asked. Cat names. Izuku mumbled, trying to force the words out as he wandered back to his desk. Hitoshi sent a small smile to him as he passed. Izuku does something interesting when he passes though. He booped Hitoshi on the nose. Then proceeded to go sit behind him, leaving Hitoshi to sit in silent confusion, surprise and gay panic. They're in the classroom again for lunch. They're all sitting in the corner close together. This time Shoto joined them. Well, Izuku has gone in the vents again, but he told them he was coming back. Hanta decided it was time to tease Hitoshi at least a bit while Izuku was gone. Hey, Hito, how's your little crush going, Hanta asks Hitoshi, who is leaning against Ijiro as he eats. He seems to just about choke. Everyone laughs. Whoops. Ugh, Finny, he's just so pretty all of the time. He's so nice and he helped me out when I was upset. He was there and knew I needed someone who just got it. He's so sweet and smart. Hitoshi rambled a bit, making the others coo and ah. Hanta sees confusion on Shoto's face. What's up, Shosho? Who is Hitoshi talking about? Alright, he doesn't know. Hitoshi likes Izuku. Don't tell him though. Hanta whispers and the other nods. Hitoshi. Shoto says, getting everyone's attention. Hurt him, I'll hurt you. Wow. Mina laughs and leans against Shoto. I'll help. Izubabe is my bestie, don't hurt him. She cheers with a threat in her eyes. I'd never. Hitoshi whined back, seemingly offended. Hello. All 6 of them screamed and looked up to see Izuku sitting on the cabinet again, looking down at them, tilting his head in the cute little way that he does. You just love to scare us, don't you? Denki says, one hand over her heart. This is why you're ghosty. Holy shit. Ha. Hitoshi breathes with a laugh. Sorry. Blank Boy replies, confused as he gets down. Hanta pulled him into their lap and hugged him, offering some of his lunch. They could feel Izuku sink into him. Do you guys know where you're going for internships? Ijiro asked. Aiza. Izuku answered immediately. Mr. Aizawa? Mina asked, receiving a nod in response. Honey, why? She seemed horrified at the idea of interning with Mr. Aizawa. No offense to the man, he's nice, but he can be scary when it comes to training. Why not? Izuku responds. Are you Mr. Aizawa's secret love child? Shoto asks and everyone stares at him for a moment before cackling. Well, Izuku didn't. Well, I don't really know what that means, but he is fostering me. You can't tell anyone that though, because that's just not smart. Izuku told them as everyone was calming down. Oh my god. You live with Mr. Aizawa? What's it like? Denki asked excitedly. Izuku tilted his head in thought, pulling a raspberry jelly pack from his pocket. He's nothing like my mom. So there is that. Before he goes on patrol, sometimes he'll watch movies with me, he makes good hot chocolate, he has multiple nicknames for me that aren't insults. I don't have to worry about finding jobs to get what I need or want, although I feel bad he's using money on me. He smiles, he's gentle and has never harmed me. He doesn't seem to mind me being around or close. Happy? That I called him Dad this morning. It was an accident at first, then he told me to call him whatever I'm comfortable with, so that's a thing now. He told them quietly. Hanta squeezed him as he put the jelly pack in his mouth. That's so cute. Izubabe. I'm so happy for you. Mina cheered, clapping her hands together. They sit and eat for a moment. I think I'm going with Gunhead. If I learn anything you want to learn to do, I'll try to teach you. Hitoshi said. That's a good choice. I hear they're nice and I know they do their job well, so you'll probably be in good hands. Izuku signed, and that seemed to fill Hitoshi with a bit of relief. Oh, guys. We should hang out in the weekend before internships. Denki exclaims. I'm down. Hanta replies. Yeah bro. Ijiro cheers with a smile. It'll probably PSS my dad off, so yeah. If we do something I can pay. I've got his credit card. Shoto says, and he can see an excited gleam in his eyes. Cute. Let me just double check with my moms, but the answer is most likely yes, considering I've never gone out with friends before. Hitoshi says. Holy shit, that's sad. Same. Shoto says. That's also sad. Hanta has a feeling Izuku's in the same book by the nod he gave. Hanta hugs him tighter. Oh my god. That's such a good idea, hell yeah. Mina cheers. They all turn to Izuku, who Hanta thinks is thinking. I should ask Aiza first. He said slowly. Just text us if you can later. You haven't texted us yet, you know? It's been a month. Ijiro says. I've never texted anyone. I will. Was the response he gave. Hanta ran a hand through the boy's hair, loving that he leans into the touch. He's adorable. So what should we do? Hanta asks, a bit excited. They haven't hung out all together outside of school yet. How about the mall? Or we go to the movies? A cafe? A park? An arcade? Denki lists excitement and energy oozing. How about we go to a park and go to a cafe after? We even go to the gardens and feed the ducks. Mina says, also oozing excitement. That sounds fun. Shoto said with a tiny little smile on his face. Sounds like a plan. We can do other things sometime later. Sunday is gonna be fun. Hitoshi says, and everyone nods. The bell rings, warning everyone to get to class, and Mr. Aizawa walks in, immediately noticing them. Izuku stands up and walks over to him. They can't hear what they're talking about though. Dad. Izuku mumbles as he walks up to the man. Yes, Kit? Sunday before internships, can I go hang out with my friends, please? Yes. Of course, you have my number, yeah? He nods. Good, so when you're out, just text me where you're going or where you have gone. I'll give you some money later. Where are you going to go? Dad asked. Some park? To feed ducks, then to a cafe or something, seems to be the main plan. Izuku tells him. Okay, sounds like fun. If you want to be picked up, just tell me, okay, buddy? Izuku nods, then Dad pats his head. Good, now class is about to start, you have heroics next, so go sit while we wait for the blonde idiot. Okay, thanks Dad. He said and went back to the corner where all his friends were packing up and standing. I can go. Awesome. Denki cheers, nods and cheers from the others. He finds himself looking forward to Sunday. It was Sunday, so he was going to hang out with his friends outside of school for the first time. Izuku put on split black and royal blue plaid pants that had a chain hanging on the belt loops. He put on a belt with silver eyelets. He wore his binder, of course, and a black shirt he tucked into his pants a bit with mesh sleeves. In his bag he had a cropped blazer in case it got cold. He wore a navy cat choker around his neck, an aura bracelet on his wrist. He put dangly star-shaped earrings in, replacing the crosses. He did his usual eyeliner with blue and black eyeshadow. His bag he was bringing was his dad's old satchel, so he decided to give it to him since he wasn't using it. He put badges and safety pins on it. Izuku put his headphones on and made sure he had everything he needed. Then he walked out into the living room where his dad was. Hi. Hey Kit, here you go. He says, handing him cash. Now remember to text me, keep me updated. Be safe and have fun, okay? Izuku nods. Good, maybe get some photos for me too. Izuku slowly wraps his arms around the man's middle, feeling his dad hug him back. He pulls back and gives a small smile. Something he hasn't given anyone in a long, long time. Shota saw the small smile on his kid's face and he just about cried. It felt like a secret just between them, something rarely, if ever seen by others, and he's been allowed to see it. He hugs his kid again, pressing a kiss to his curls. You have a beautiful smile, love. He tells the boy as he releases him. Thank you, was the soft reply. Okay, darling, you go have fun, he said, guiding him to the door. He watched as he put on his old little boots and waved him goodbye as he exited. Shota smiles for a while after that. He was worried, because this was the first time his kit went out alone, but he's okay. He got to see his kit smile. He texted Nizupa about it in his joy. Izuku sat on a bench by the entrance to the gardens. He texted his dad, which was weird, only because he never texted anyone. He checked the group chat he was added to. He didn't say anything, he just read everyone's texts. They were all on their way. Izuku pressed play on his playlist while he waited. He closed his eyes and eventually he began to sing along. Pre-Quirk's song Overthink by Addison Grace. Ooh, bum bum ba, ooh. He began to tap his fingers on his knees. I've been stuck inside my head, questioning every little thing I've said when it comes to you. But I brush it off and throw some makeup on, and mess around with my hair. I read our texts 1,000 times. I hope to see the dots so that I know I'm in your thoughts. He sways a bit as he taps and sings. 'Cause you're always on my mind. But I overthink it and I gotta say that sometimes it just gets irritating, but then you smile. And I remember why. He hums and knows there's a small twitch to his lips. Hitoshi walks up to the meeting place and sees a few people hanging around and a voice singing, not very loud, it's a quiet voice. Familiar. He sees Denki and Mina are staring at something with smiles and their phones out, so he goes over to them and sees what they're looking at. Here's what they're hearing. I promise, babe, I'm not overly obsessed. Swear to God, I'm not a narcissist. And I never want to be. I just want you to see the very best version of me. Izuku Midoriya, the apathetic cute boy, blank ghosty. He's singing. But I know. You seem to like me so genuinely. But I know. I shouldn't stress. His voice is gorgeous and his face is so relaxed. There's even almost a smile on his face. 'Cause you're just too kind. And you're always on my mind. But I overthink it and I gotta say that sometimes it just gets irritating, but then you smile. And I remember why. His makeup is slightly different today, and his style of clothing suits him. Hitoshi knows his face must be red. And I overthink, and I overthink. Other people have their phones out and someone has gotten a cup and put it next to him, and it's filled with money, and when Ijiro, Hanta and Shoto approach and are pleasantly surprised by what they see too, they put money in the cup. You're just too kind, and you're always on my mind. But I overthink and I gotta say that sometimes it just gets irritating, but then you smile. And I remember why. Izuku stops singing and the people that have gathered start clapping and cheering. Some others put money in the cup. Izuku opens his eyes at the sudden increase in noise and his eyes widen when there are people all around him. Mina and Denki both cheer. Hitoshi claps with Shoto, Hanta and Ijiro. Soon the people are leaving after they're done with their compliments and cheering. Mina and Denki sent the videos to their group chat and to Mr. Aizawa, and they walked over to Izuku, whose cheeks were a bit pink and looked very anxious. Aiza babe, that was awesome. Your voice is gorgeous. Mina cheered. Hanta picked up the cup, knowing Izuku didn't know it was there, and counted it, handing the money to Izuku, who took it with confusion clear on his face. Then he threw the cup in the bin. Wow. We should do karaoke sometime. Oh my God. Guys. We should start recording the things we do. That way we can look back on them. We could make a channel to keep them on. Denki says excitedly, flapping his hands. They all agree, because who says no to a happy Denki? Not Hitoshi. Unless there is a good reason. Yay. Denki smiles. Denki grabs Izuku's hand, pulls him up and leads the way into the park, swinging Izuku and their hands between them. Okay. So, feeding the ducks, yeah? Ijiro asks. Yeah, you think we're gonna get chased by ducks? Hitoshi asks, and he thinks it's likely. Most likely. Ijiro says, nodding sadly with a wide smile. Are ducks aggressive? Shoto asks. Hitoshi and Ijiro just laugh instead of answering. Izuku is crouched on the ground by the pond, sprinkling seeds on the ground around him for the ducks and the random other birds that joined. His friends are doing the same. Ducks are pretty creatures. He thinks he likes them. Suddenly he hears Mina and Denki shout, It's muffled as everything is with his headphones on, but he whips his head around and can't help how his mouth drops open at the sight of them getting chased by ducks. They're running after them like heroes saving the day. Or hungry ducks. Izuku sees Hanta and Ijiro laughing and filming it, probably for that channel they talked about earlier. Or their enjoyment. Probably both. Shoto is watching with wide eyes, possibly a bit scared. Izuku's eyes move to Hitoshi. He's laughing and holding his stomach. Izuku, again, thinks he's very pretty. Handsome. Today he wore loose ripped black-gray jeans with what he thinks are thigh-high emerald green socks underneath, a white button-up shirt underneath a forest green hoodie, one size too big. He has a black choker on, that has a little crystal that might be green agate in a heart shape. His hair is down and there are 2 clips holding some of it down above each ear. He has black ear cuffs on both ears. I wonder why my mind keeps getting drawn to him. Maybe he should ask Mina sometime. He goes back to feeding the ducks after one of them tries to take the bag. There are smaller ducks, but not quite ducklings. He feeds them. Spring is coming to a close soon, so he thinks it makes sense. Soon the bag is empty and he stands and throws the bag in the bin, then goes and sits with Hitoshi. They sat together watching as Mina and Denki got chased by ducks until they eventually realized if they poured seed out they'd stop chasing. Soon enough all the bags were empty and they were sitting together watching the ducks around them. This is so fun. We have to do this sort of stuff again. Mina says, throwing their hands up. Mina has a pretty outfit on. She has a black and pastel pink checkered dress that stops just above the knees. It has thin, flowy white sleeves and a round collar. She's wearing black platform shoes that have cute little pink heart buckles. Her socks are knee-high and white. She has a few rings on with cool details and Izuku wants to ask where she got them. She has dangly cloud earrings in 2 which are cute. Her eyeliner is well done and she used bright pink eyeshadow. He wants to ask her to do his makeup and pick his outfit sometime, to see what she thinks he should wear. Yeah. Hell yeah. Especially since these 3 have never hung out with friends outside of school. Denki says, clapping her hands. Their outfit looks good too. He's wearing a black t-shirt with a black mesh shirt underneath, a black and yellow plaid pleated skirt that had chains hanging from the belt loops. They were wearing black stockings and scuffed black and yellow sneakers. He had on a black choker with a yellow lightning bolt on it, and yellow lightning bolt earrings in. They had black eyeshadow on too. Maybe he'll ask Denki to pick an outfit for him too. Honestly, he'll probably ask most of his friends. They all look good, but some of their tastes are definitely just what they can pull off. I hope we do this again. Shoto said with a nod. Shoto's outfit was pretty average. A dark blue button-up long-sleeve shirt, unbuttoned, a gray t-shirt underneath, black jeans and white sneakers. He doesn't think he could pull it off though. We so are doing this stuff again. Ijiro declared. Ijiro's outfit suited him, but he doubted it'd suit anyone else. He was wearing a red and orange short-sleeve button-up shirt with a pattern Izuku can't figure out, a light blue shirt underneath, and khaki green shorts. The part Izuku had the most problem with was the red Crocs. He had no problem with the rest of the outfit honestly. Do you guys want to walk around? Hanta asked. Hanta looked super cozy. They had a black hoodie with yellow sleeves on and black track pants, with black boots that had beads on the laces. Pansexual colors. He also had black eyeshadow on. Comfy clothes are awesome. Let's walk around. I think there are some things we can do around here. Ijiro says. Hitoshi grabs his hand as they start walking down a path. Are you looking forward to internships? Hitoshi asked him. I'm looking forward to seeing what Dad wants to teach me. Are you? He asked back. Yeah, I'm nervous to be away from my mom's, but it's necessary. Hitoshi says. Are your moms nice? He asks, looking at some of the flowers they pass. Yeah, they're really nice. I think they would love to meet you and the gang sometime. They're really happy I have friends. Hitoshi says with a smile. Then when we can, I'm willing to meet them, because they are important to you. Izuku told him and saw his smile grow wider. Thanks. Hitoshi says. Guy. Anyone want to go into the greenhouse? There's plants and fish in there. Mina asked excitedly. Yes. Izuku said and everyone looked at him. For some reason before they started running to the greenhouse, Hitoshi dragging him along. All while laughing. Mina was so excited, Today was so fun. She led them to the greenhouse, which was filled with all sorts of plants. It was warm, which was unpleasant, but she could deal with it. The plants were all sorts of colors and sizes, and Mina watched as Izuku went straight to the fences where the fish swam below, dragging a laughing Hitoshi by the hand. He seemed excited and it was so cute, so she started recording. Their first video on their channel was going to be so fun, just full of what they got up to during their first outing. Hitoshi was watching fondly as his crush was pointing out some of the fish they could see. Shoto came up too and looked equally happy to Izuku. Both of them expressed it in their eyes, as he looked down at the gold, orange, black, white and silver scales swishing around below. Denki was taking photos of all of them together. They weren't the tallest, but she made it work. Mina couldn't say much though. Her and Izuku were the same height. Which was short, but it's cute and they make it work. Izuku got his phone out and took a photo of the water down below, then seemed to click into something. "What are you up to, Ghosty?" Hitoshi asked, wrapping both arms loosely around Izuku's neck, resting them on his shoulders and looking at Izuku's phone. Sending Dad a photo of the fish and texting the word fish under it. He says, sinking back into Hitoshi a bit. "Why is that?" He inquires and Mina is still recording. Impulse decisions. Izuku states bluntly and everyone in the greenhouse laughs. Hitoshi and Denki are cackling alongside Mina, who was still recording. Shoto laughed into his hand, and Hanta and Ijiro were lent into each other as they laughed. "Like you slapping a cat sticker on our teacher?" Mina asked and he nodded, which got them laughing again. That video would be put in for context. Mina stopped recording. Okay, let's keep walking," Hanta says and leads them out. Mina is having a lot of fun. "Guys, there's a playground and hardly any kids on it." Denki shouted and Izuku watched as they grabbed Ijiro and Shoto by the hand and dragged them over. Izuku then felt his free hand be grabbed. He looked over and saw Mina. Hitoshi was holding his other one, then they were being dragged over too. Both of his hands were released and Izuku looked around the park. He spent a lot of time on playgrounds to practice balance, parkour and climbing. There were swing sets, which Denki and Shoto were on. Ijiro was trying to sit on the baby swing. There was a flying fox Mina was on, and Hitoshi and Hanta were on the seesaw nearby. There was a rope web and there were rope bridges. There was a ladder to a higher platform where there was a curvy slide, then a wobbly bridge to another platform, where there was a pole, then a tunnel to another platform where there was another ladder to climb higher to a larger platform which had a roof above it and slides to get down. There were a few other things around like monkey bars, roundabouts and a compound supernova. Izuku, after observing the park, started running and climbed as high as possible, which was on top of the roof of the highest platform. He sat and watched his friends below him. He could see Hitoshi staring at him, so he waved, getting a wave back. He swung his legs a bit and got his phone out to record. He recorded what was below him and zooms in on Hitoshi, who was still staring at him. He then flips the camera to show himself. "I don't know why he's staring," he tells the camera. "Babe, what the bleep bloop are you doing up there?" Mina screamed and he looked down, back to the camera, then flipped the camera and zoomed in on Mina. He saw Shoto walk up behind Mina, staring at him as everyone in the area was doing, then cup his hand around his mouth. Izuku zoomed the camera out. "Can I come up there with you?" Shoto shouted, so he nodded, giving a thumbs up to be seen by the camera. Shoto starts to make his way towards the ladder only for Hanta to run up to him and drag him away. "No. Bro, how'd you get up there?" Ijiro exclaimed. Get down here." "Huh?" Denki shouted. Izuku sighed and flipped the camera and shrugged. "Should I tell bad jokes as I get down?" "Yeah, I'll do that." So Izuku starts to climb down, coming up with awful jokes. What's green and has wheels?" "Grass, I lied about the wheels." "Where be my creativity?" "What kind of streets do ghosts haunt?" "Dead ends." "Spooky." "Why don't dinosaurs talk?" "'Cause they're dead." "What the heck are you doing, blank boy?" Hanta asks as he jumps the last distance to the ground. "Telling bad jokes." He stated, "You're my favorite. You're so random it's great." Hanta said, grabbing his free hand and dragging him to Hitoshi, who still had the same expression on his face, staring at him. Izuku was still recording. Wah, you know what, now that I think about it, it makes sense for you. You climb everything. Hitoshi says as Izuku sits on the middle of the seesaw. This is mostly true. Izuku responded and Hitoshi laughed. Izuku stopped recording. Ijiro recorded his friends from his shirt pocket. Mina and Shoto were on the swings. Denki was on the roundabout going around slowly. Izuku was standing on the middle of the seesaw as Hitoshi and Hanta sat on the seats. Which was crazy, just how? Ijiro was sitting on top of a slide, one of those curly tube slides. He can see all of them. He loves his friends. They're all so manly in a not necessarily a man way. Howards. There were some kids around, but they mostly left them alone. Their parents, though, seemed to glare. Ijiro sees a kid with short teal hair approach Izuku. Everything in the park was close so he and his friends could all hear what said. "Hey, mister?" The kid asked and Izuku looked down and jumped off the seesaw to sit in front of the kid with his legs crossed. "Hello, small child." He replies, neutral tone. He can see Hitoshi and Hanta bite their lips to keep from laughing. Ijiro, Mina and Denki don't even try to stop their laughter though. Shoto just smiles a small smile. "Hi. I just wanted to say you looked very cool and handsome. Ma said you were probably a delinquent? Delinquent, but I dunno, I think you're cool." The kid says and Ijiro sees Izuku's surprise in the way his eyes widen. "Thank you, small child. That's very nice. Stay nice to people, okay? It's a very good thing to be." Izuku tells the kid, tilting his head. "Of course. I want to be a hero. So of course a hero has to be nice." The kid cheers and Izuku seems to melt a bit. He pulls out a notepad and a pen from his bag. "Well, little future hero, will you do me the honor of getting your first autograph?" He asks and Ijiro smiles so wide because that's so cute. "Really? I don't have a hero name yet though." The kid says and Izuku nods. "Yeah. Write a nickname maybe? Whatever name you want me to know you by." He says. "Okay. You can call me Mimi then." They say as they write on the paper before handing the notepad and pen back. "Oh, are you gonna be a hero too?" "Oh, what can I call you?" I'm in hero school. I'll learn to be the best hero I can be. I'm gonna be an underground hero though, so you won't see me at the top of the rankings or anything. You can call me Panther, little Mimi." Izuku tells the kid who now had stars in their eyes. "Wow. Really? Then can I get your autograph too?" Mimi asks and Izuku nods and writes his hero name down, and possibly some other stuff. "Yeah. Here you go," he says, handing the paper over. The huge smile on their face has all of Ijiro's friends smiling. Well, Izuku and Shoto just have soft looks on their faces. "Wow. Thank you, Mr. Panther. If you don't mind me asking, what's your quirk?" "Mine is a bubble quirk. People say I can't be a hero with it, but I'll try anyway." Mimi asks and Izuku pulls open the notebook again and starts to write. "Okay, Mimi, I'm going to write some things just for you, something you can remember if others say that you can't become a hero. Quirks are tools. Anyone can be a hero, quirk or no quirk, weak quirk or strong quirk. There's that to remember, and then just from me personally. Panther believes in you. Now you have at least one person on your side always." Izuku said, handing the paper to Mimi, and Ijiro can see the fond smile on all his friends' faces and the tears in Denki's eyes. "My quirk can make it so I can tell people what to do. I was told I couldn't be a hero all my life, not one person on my side. Now little Mimi, you will never experience that. Do your parents think you can do it?" Izuku asked. "I don't think they do, but I'm gonna try anyway." Mimi said, "Good. Remember, it won't be easy though. You have to try very hard." Izuku told Mimi, "I will." They cheer. "Good. I think all my friends here believe in you." Izuku said, gesturing to all of them. Mimi smiled wider. "Thank you, Panther's friends," they said with a wave. Ijiro smiled and stopped recording. He had somewhat forgotten he was recording at all. Who knew Izuku was good with kids? Did Izuku? Izuku thought Mimi was a good kid. They seemed sweet. He let them ramble about their favorite heroes, which thankfully none of them were. All Might. His friends had come and sat down with them and told little Mimi their hero names and gave them their autographs. Izuku leaned into Hitoshi, who had wrapped his arms around his waist as their group spent time sitting with Mimi. He talked a lot today. This year he has spoken so much. He forgot how much it saps your energy. Mick, what are you doing? I told you to stay away from them. Someone screeched. Izuku groaned. This must be the mother. Panther, Pinky, Leopard, Chargebolt, Cellophane, Red Riot, Shoto are all really nice. They're heroes in training. Mimi cheers. Mimi's mother scoffs as if it's absolutely ridiculous. He sees Shoto pull his phone out. Please. They're a bunch of wild teenagers who probably can't save anything, come on. She says, impatiently waiting for Mimi. But they really are. They were telling me about the sports festival. I didn't get to see it. Apparently they all worked together through the first round and won first place, all 7 of them, blocked everyone else out on the second round, and played games when they had to compete against each other in the final round, but fought everyone else. Mimi rambled, seemingly needing their mother to believe them. Tisich, whatever. Hurry up, let's go. Now. She grinds out impatiently. Izuku doesn't like Mimi's ma. Bye-bye. It was nice to meet you. Mimi says as they stand and wave. Bye, Mimi, good luck out there. Bye-bye, Mimi. See ya later. It was nice meeting you. Bye. See ya. Izuku gets up and crouches in front of them. Bye, Mimi, you keep being nice out there, yeah? Maybe we will get to see each other again. Maybe when you're all grown up we will work together even. Izuku says with his hands on his knees. He's surprised when Mimi hugs him around the neck, but he hugs them back. They pull back and nod with a determined look on their face before walking over to their mother and grabbing her hand. Izuku goes and lies against Hitoshi again. Hitoshi rocked them side to side with his arms around him. Wow, that was an experience. Igio said. Izu babe, where did you learn to be good with children? That was adorable. Mina squealed. I did good. Izuku asked in confusion. He's not exactly good with people. He knows that. Yeah. Doll, you did so well. Denki said, taking his hand. I think you did well. Shoto told him. Izuku nodded, hoping it was the truth. Hey Ki. Mina stage whispers. Yeah. Denki stage whispers back. Wanna see who can swing the highest? She asked. Hanta's already pulled his phone out. Yeah. Then they're both running over, Ijiro, Shoto and Hanta following, Ijiro trying to get in the baby swing again. Luna, are you having fun? Izuku mumbled to Hitoshi who was rocking them as they watched their chaotic friends. Yeah. I am. Are you Star? Hitoshi asked. That's a new one. I like it. I'm enjoying myself. I look forward to next time. Izuku replied. I'm glad. Your voice is stunning by the way. Sing for me sometime? Hitoshi muttered. If I can, I'll try. I've never sang for people before. That sheet was terrifying. Izuku muttered, hearing a snort from Hitoshi. I bet it was. You were in your own world as you sang that, it was gorgeous. Hitoshi says. I think you'd probably sing well. Your voice is nice. I like it. Izuku tells him. Thanks, Ghosty. Hitoshi says, burying his face in Izuku's hair. Do you want to climb as high as possible with me? Izuku asked. You know what, sure. We can be kings. Hitoshi says and Izuku stands up pulling him along and shows him the way up. Welcome, King Hitoshi to your kingdom. Izuku says with dramatic gestures to make up for lack of dramatic expressions and tone of voice. King Izuku, my fellow king of this kingdom. Hitoshi greets dramatically, offering his hand, which Izuku takes. Hitoshi presses a kiss to it and sets it in his lap, before looking down to their friends. Izuku turns to look too. Hanta has the phone pointed at the two of them, and for who knows how long, the others have stopped swinging and instead are looking up at them. Eyes you babe. But, Hito babe, you're encouraging this. Get down. Mina screeches and Izuku just lies back. Bow to your kings. Ha. Hitoshi shouts back, still holding Izuku's hand, seemingly feeling chaotic. Now can I go up? He hears Shoto ask. Yes. Hitoshi calls down. No. He can hear Hanta shout. He's probably recording this whole thing. But Han, It looks like so much fun. Shoto whines. Izuku sits up and looks at his friends. Hanta has pink cheeks, Shoto is pouting, hardly but he is. Why are Hanta's cheeks pink? Izuku asked Hitoshi. I think he has a crush on Candy Cane. Hitoshi whispered back. A crush? Izuku tilted his head, then remembered what that meant. Oh, they like him? Izuku whispered to Hitoshi. Michim. I think Candy Cane might have one on tape too, but I'm not sure. Hitoshi told him with a finger over his mouth. Izuku put a finger over his own mouth in response. Are there any other crushes you know of? Izuku asked curiously. Well, I'm not sure, but I think Mina may have a crush on Tsu. I'm not sure about anyone else in our group. Momo and Jiro seem to like each other though. I think they're scared to admit they like each other in fear of rejection. I don't know of any others though. Hitoshi told him. Oh, they'd all be cute together. Izuku decided. Hitoshi nodded. Do you have any crushes? Hitoshi asked and Izuku looked up to the sky watching the clouds. I might, but it's possible that I don't. I've never had a crush on someone. I didn't have a reason to like people. Now though I have reason to like you guys and a select few others. Recently my mind has been drawn to someone every now and again. I think maybe I have a crush on him, but I'm not sure. How about you? Izuku asked as he leaned against Hitoshi. Oh, I have a crush on a boy. I've had crushes before but none ever stuck, because everyone around me were assholes. Mind is drawn to him too. I might tell him soon but I'm nervous. Hitoshi tells him as he wraps an arm around him. It'll be okay. Izuku told him. He can see his friends being chaotic, probably trying to figure out how to get them down. We should probably go down. Yeah. We should do things like this more often. Hitoshi tells him. Izuku nods and they climb down together. Finally. Thank God we didn't have to climb up there and drag you down. Mina said as she grabbed Izuku's hand. Hanta seems to have stopped recording. Now it's time to head to the cafe. I'm hungry. Mina cheers and Izuku uses his free hand to text his dad that they're off to eat. Izuku and Mina walked side by side, hand in hand into the cafe. It was quite cozy, it was all pastel colors inside and the workers all greeted with a smile. There were a couple claw machines that Izuku was going to take a look at later. They all sat in a booth. Izuku sat across from Hitoshi and beside Mina. Hanta and Shoto sat beside Hitoshi and Denki and Ijiro sat beside Mina. They still had a bit of space even though there were so many of them. After a moment of looking at the menus, Izuku brought out his notebook and wrote everyone's orders down. Shoto got up and took the list with him to the counter, since he decided to use Endeavor's credit card. Shoto returned and everyone started talking. Eventually Izuku decided to quietly wander off to the claw machines. He had quite a few coins from earlier in the day and from past purchases. He hasn't used his dad's money yet, nor has he used his money he earned while living with his mother. In the claw machine are some very soft-looking plushies and he decided to use all his coins and collect as many as he could. Even though he's mostly sure these games are rigged. He inserted a coin and began to play. 3 coins, 6 turns later he already had 4 plushies. One of them was a gray cube with a little smiley face, another was a very fluffy Pikachu, the next one was a pink unicorn, and the last one was a fluffy shiny blue bear. He walked over to their table. Their orders hadn't arrived yet. What? How? Mina asked. He shrugged. Izuku handed Mina the unicorn. For Min Min, he said, which earned a beaming smile and thanks. He handed the Pikachu to Denki. For Sparks, another smile and thanks. He handed the squishy cube to Ijiro. For Eiji, more smiles and thanks. He walked around to the booth behind Shoto, Hanta and Hitoshi. He wrapped his arms around Shoto, handing him the fluffy bear. For Sibling Show. He thinks someone took a photo of them. You think of me as a sibling? Shoto asks him quietly. I do. You and I are similar, familiar whether we know the specifics or not. I haven't known you for long, but you feel like what I think family should feel like. You all do, honestly. He says. Shoto turns in his seat and hugs him, burying his face in his shoulder. Izuku just runs his fingers through his hair. When he's released, Izuku gives a small smile, because it felt appropriate, before going back to the claw machine. Another 3 coins and 6 turns later Izuku has 5 plushies. One is an Antarctic fox with 1 black, 1 blue button eye. Another is a purple leopard, which Izuku thought was a bit funny considering Hitoshi's hero name. Another plushie Izuku found was a black cat with green eyes, which he was keeping for himself. The next one was a black cat with red eyes. He thought of Dad, and there was one last one, which was a white cat with a red heart, which he decided to put in his bag. If it turns out he has a crush, he will give that one to him. Izuku walks back to the table and hands Hanta the Arctic fox. For Han. Izuku receives a thank you with a smile. Izuku hands Hitoshi the purple leopard. For Luna. He said. Hitoshi thanked him and snuggled the leopard to his chest with a smile. Izuku sits down and holds up the red-eyed cat. For Dad. He puts it in his lap and holds up the green-eyed cat. For Izuku. He then just holds them in his arms. That is too cute. We are going to have so much fun in the arcade when we go. Denki cheered and Izuku leaned against Mina, content to listen to their chatter. Hello. Sorry for the wait. Welcome. Here are your orders. Don't hesitate to ask if you need any help. A waitress says as she places a tray of drinks down and a tray with a large bowl of fries down on the table. Izuku probably would have gotten hot chocolate normally, but today a strawberry milkshake sounded good. Izuku held up a peace sign as he sipped through his straw looking directly into the camera as Shoto took a photo of them all. He was the only one who noticed. Oh, guys, send all the videos and photos you took today to the group chat. Denki said excitedly. Izuku pulled out his phone and sent his video in, and his fish photo, watching all the other videos and photos flow in. He sent the photo Shoto just took to his dad before putting his phone away. Today was a good day. Shoto was still on the couch with a smile on his face, grating when he got the notification that Izuku got where he was going. Around 10 minutes later his phone pings. He picks up his phone and sees 2 notifications from Kaminari and Ishido. He opens them and sees their videos, the same ones. He clicks into it and sees his kit. His kit was sitting on a bench with headphones on, tapping and swaying to the music and singing along, and it's a beautiful sound. He watched the video to the end, loving hearing his voice, ever so proud. At the end there are people around him and a full cup of cash by him, and everyone starts cheering and clapping. He's startled, freezing a bit, but nobody seemed to notice. Then the video ends. He saved the video and sent it to the teacher's group chat. UA adult children. Sleepy, insert video. Sleepy, 2 of OI students sent me this. Sleepy, my kit can sing. Sleepy, also he smiled at me this morning. Sleepy, he also calls me dad now, so. Sleepy, I'm having a good time. Screech, beautiful voice. Screech, oh my god. Shota, you have to ask if he wants to learn any instruments with his uncle Hizashi. Screech, oh my god, does he even know he can call me his uncle? Screech, any of us aunts, uncles and uncles. Nemnem, oh my god, my nephew is so talented. Nemnem, their taste in clothes. I love it. I'm so taking him shopping at some point. Nemnem, me and Heiza are so coming over for dinner tonight. Be thankful for the warning. God, my grand kit looks to be enjoying himself. Build, do you think he would like specially made headphones? Sleepy, he would love them, he loves his headphones. Sometimes he needs them. Build. New headphones for the nephew, coming up. Marshmallow, oh the sweetheart sings so beautifully. Marshmallow, his outfit looks amazing too. Out of this world. Pew pew, Shota, how'd ya end up with such an awesome kid? Sleepy, his shitty mom got killed and I took him. Blood, i.e. awesome. 10 best way to collect a child. Sleepy, emchim. Unfun, young Midoriya looks too freaky to be a hero, she would scare away civilians. Why would you let her dress like that? Unfun, that's insulting to her mother. How could you disrespect her? And disrespecting the dead. How could you say such things? Sleepy, off and leave me and my son alone. Sleepy, he dresses how he wants and he looks fantastic. Sleepy, his mother doesn't get respect because from my understanding she isn't worth my understanding. God, stop misgendering him. Nemuri, feel free to lecture him as much as you please. Nemnem, with pleasure. Shota was working on his paperwork again and grading when he got a notification from Izuku. It was just a picture of some fish and the word fish was typed below it. He sent that photo to the teacher's group chat, with the word fish typed underneath. He assumed it was one of Izuku's impulse decisions he decided to act on. Fish no context. God, he loves that weird little kid. He's eating lunch at 1 p.m. when he gets a text saying they're off to a cafe. Good, he'll hopefully eat. It's not long later when another notification pings. He opens it, it's a photo from Izuku, so he opens it and he smiles. Kirishima, Kaminari, Ashido and Izuku on one side of a booth, Shinso, Shiro and Todoroki on the other side. Todoroki is holding the camera and he and Izuku are staring blankly into the camera. Izuku is holding up the peace sign and drinking a strawberry milkshake. Todoroki is looking also holding up the peace sign. Kirishima and Kaminari seem to be chatting animatedly and didn't notice there was a photo being taken. Ashido and Shiro are also in a discussion and haven't noticed the photo being taken. Shinso's just drinking his caramel milkshake watching with a smile. They all had plushies in their laps and hands, there were claw machines in the background, though who won at least 8 plushies he didn't know. Kirishima had a gray cube in his lap, Kaminari was hugging an extra fluffy Pikachu, which was fitting. Ashido had a fluffy pink unicorn tucked under their arm, and Izuku had 2 black cats on his lap from what he could see. Shinso was hugging a purple leopard, which was also fitting. Shiro had a white fox in their lap, one hand rested on top of it, and Todoroki had a fluffy blue bear in his lap. They looked like they were having a great time. He saved the photo and sent it to the teacher's group chat. UA adult children. Sleepy. Insert image. Sleepy. Look at the M having fun. Marshmallow. Oh my goshness. They all have plushies. They're so cute. God, my grandkit and his friends. I'm glad they seem to be having fun. Nemnem. Oh my god. I'm so taking Izuku, Ashido, Kaminari and Shinso shopping. Their outfits are gorgeous. Nem. Kirishima, Shiro and Todoroki are coming too though. Nem Shiro and Todoroki's outfits are fine but Kirishima might need a new style. Screech. This is my favorite group of students. Screech. These 7 kids. Sleepy. Pew pew. Hell yeah. Hitoshi decided to play the claw machine before they left, while everyone was at the table. After a couple coins he won a black cat with a red heart. He decided that if he confessed to Izuku he would give him this. He stuffed it in his bag he brought along and went back to the table. Izuku walked into the apartment and took off his boots. He peeked in the kitchen then in the living room. Seeing his dad in the living room he walked over and sat next to him. Hey, darling. Did you have a good time? Dad asked him. Izuku nodded. Then he pulled out his black cats and held out the one with red eyes to him. For Dad. Dad took it and placed it in his lap gently with a smile before pulling him into a hug. Thank you, Kit. I love it. Did you win all of those plushies? Dad asked and he nodded as he pulled away. Yeah, there were a couple claw machines. We had milkshakes there too, they were great. That place was really cozy. Izuku told his dad. Then we'll have to go there sometime, milkshakes sound great. Dad replied and Izuku nodded. Would you like to see some of the videos we recorded? And some photos, 'cause there are some in there too. Izuku asked Dad, who nodded so Izuku pulled out his phone and curled into his dad's side, feeling an arm around his shoulders. We need to get you a new phone. A laptop too. Dad mutters, seemingly mostly to himself. Izuku scrolled to the top of where they sent videos. He groaned when he saw a video of him singing was the one at the top. You sang really well, Kit. Izuku turned and gaped at the man a bit before turning back and scrolling down a bit to the first video. Izuku showed him the videos and listened to his dad laugh. He had to send all the photos and videos to his dad because he wanted them. I'm glad you had fun, Kit. Dad told him as Izuku melted further into him. Michim, can we watch a movie? Izuku asked. Sure. Shota saw in one of the videos that Shinso kissed one of Izuku's hands. He had already had a feeling the boy was crushing on him. Izuku can't date. He's too young, too small, too precious, and Shota loves him and no one can have him. Of course, if Izuku decided to date, then Shota would be happy for him. Yeah. Doesn't change that he's giving a shovel talk and that he's going to cry because his darling boy was growing up. Shota's startled out of his thoughts by the front door slamming open and two people running in. Izuku literally hissed as he was startled out of his state of calm, where he laid against Shota as he ran his hand through black locks. His kit. Izuku seemed to click to who the two frozen people in the doorway were after a moment and laid back down. Shota ran his fingers through Izuku's hair and looked over to his two friends. "Hello. Hey. How are you two?" Hisashi asked as he walked in and sat on the floor near Shota, Nemuri following close behind. Izuku got home a bit ago after a good time. He fed the ducks, looked at fish, played on a playground, talked to a kid, went to a cafe, won 10 plushies and claw machines and gave them to his friends and one for me and him. He drank milkshakes, ate fries and enjoyed the company of his friends the whole time from what he told me. "I'm all good too," Shota told them, and Izuku was focused back on the movie. "That sounds great." Nemi cheered. "What do you guys want for dinner?" Hisashi asked, pulling out his phone. "Whatever's easiest." Shota shrugged. They chatted a while more and Izuku seemed to focus on the people sitting on the floor after a while, still snuggled into Shota's side. "Hey, kid, you know them as Midnight and Present Mike, but like I told you they live next door and their names are Nemuri Kiyama and Hisashi Yamada." Shota told him, seeing a nod. His social battery seems zapped for the day. "Yeah. You can call me Uncle Hisashi. 'Cause you're, like, most of the staff's nephew honestly. You can call me Auntie Nemuri." Izuku nodded. "Okay, Uncle Za and Auntie Nemi." He mumbled. He seemed like he was tired but couldn't sleep. Shota just smiled as his friends squealed excitedly. Shota loves these three people.